What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having a great day. I know I am, and if you are having a great day, I'd appreciate you pressing that like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your neighbor is gonna come in and smash your game console of choice. Yeah, that's right. PlayStation, PS4, Switch, Xbox One, whatever it is that you're jamming on, your neighbor's gonna smash it unless you press the like button. Real talk though, guys, hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. This story actually is one that was sent in by a friend of mine. My good buddy Bumpkin actually told me about this and said that I could tell it on the channel, so big thank you to him. But basically, his neighbor ended up smashing his Xbox in a fit of rage. I don't understand what it is about neighbors, alright? I don't know why everybody on the planet has at least one neighbor that's gone a little bit ballistic and done something crazy. But I swear at this point, it's basically the same thing as, like, you know, a grandma named Mary. Like, basically everybody and their mom has one. A crazy neighbor that breaks in and steals your property. That's just how life goes, I guess. Regardless, guys, it should be a pretty entertaining video. But like I said, press the like button or you're gonna get cursed. And, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, growing up, there was this neighbor kid that was around the same age as me, and, you know, we were close enough in age where we could, like, get along and hang out, and when you were forced to be at home during the summer or whatever, and your mom would send you outside, you would naturally just end up hanging out together, because it's more entertaining than sitting in the hot summer sun alone. The only difference is that this kid was, like, way worse behaved than me. He was the type of kid to, like, try to light neighborhood cats on fire, and I was the type of kid that was mowing lawns to try to get some extra money, you know? He was a little bit of a psychopath, I'm not gonna lie. And because of that, I realized pretty quickly after we became friends and got a little bit older that I was getting special treatment because I was nice, you know? It wasn't because anybody was being unfair, and this kid was a little bit crazy, and I probably should just avoid hanging out with him in general. So I made the conscious decision to no longer hang out with the dude that was a little bit unhinged and crazy, because generally what happens is those people continue to be crazy. They just get crazier as they grow older. But because he's my neighbor, I still had to see him relatively often. And because we used to be friends, my mom would be like, oh, you should invite blah, blah, blah over. You know, she would invite him to birthday parties and stuff. So I still had to interact with him occasionally. And at the time I was, 13 years old, I kind of realized that he was nuts. He had gone from, like, fighting with cats in the alleyways to stealing from neighbors and stuff, but for whatever reason, my mom made me invite him to my birthday party. And all that I wanted when I was turning 14 was the new Xbox One X. The Xbox One X had just been coming out. Keep in mind, this is my friend's story, so I'm telling it from his perspective. I'm way older than this, but my friend's story basically is that the Xbox One was just coming out, and he was, like, begging his mom and dad for it. All the influencers on YouTube, all the gaming YouTubers and stuff had gotten it, and they were talking about how much better it was and, like, how it was 4K. So obviously, that's what I asked for. So my birthday party comes, all my friends from school come over, and sure enough, my crazy neighbor is there because my mom decided that she was going to invite him to be nice. And, like, I don't know if moms just overdosed on niceness or whatever. As soon as you have a kid, you have the inability to be mean. But I'm telling you, moms need to understand that you're allowed to be mean sometimes. Like, you really are. It's okay to be mean sometimes. And if somebody's a psychopath who's known from stealing from the neighbors, it's okay not to invite him to my birthday party. I really don't want, to have to do a whodunit crime-solving marathon at my birthday by choice where we have to invite the actual police because somebody got stabbed with a plastic fork and we're pretty sure it's that kid and he's denying it. So whatever, we're vibing and the party's okay. The kid's being a little bit awkward. He's, like, fighting with the more normal kids or, apparently playing but, like, fighting. I don't know if you just never learned how to play fight, but, like, when you're play fighting, you hold back a little bit. This dude was seriously picking up folding chairs and threatening to hit people with them. Like, he was being a little bit extra, The WWE moves were coming out in full force, and unlike John Cena, we could see this guy and we did not like what we were seeing. We were not vibing with it. So he's threatening to smack people with chairs. I'm having to calm him down and explain to my friends from school that my neighbor is just a little bit unhinged. So finally, after taking care of it all day, everybody continues to have a great time. Everything's fine, and it gets to the point where we're gonna get gifts. And, like, my family, don't get me wrong, I wasn't hurting for a ton growing up, but, like, it definitely also was not a situation where there was, like, a ton of money laying around. So one box gets pulled out, and it's a pretty specific size. I can tell almost right away that it's gonna be an Xbox One, you know, like it's an Xbox One X, hopefully. It's all I've been asking for, but even if it's a normal Xbox One, no complaints. Like, I'm not the type of person that's gonna complain that my parents got me a gaming console, mainly because, I don't know, I wasn't raised by wolves and learned how to be a decent human being. So whatever, I excitedly opened the box, and sure enough, it's an Xbox One X. So I hug my mom and dad. I'm like, oh my god, thank you so much. Wow, this is so great. And in the span of time where I step away from the box and go to talk to my parents, my friends are like screaming at me. They're like, dude, he took it. And we look out, and sure enough, the neighbor kid is like running out the front door with my Xbox under his arm. You know, didn't even care, stole it straight from the birthday party, no regrets. So we're following outside, and like my dad is pretty pissed off because he just stole the Xbox that he bought for his son, which is generally not a happy thing. Like, imagine you just spend, you know, $500 on something for your kid. I don't really know how much Xbox One X's are, but something like that. So, obviously, this dude is just minding his own business. Something nabs something from his son. His dad's pissed off. So he's chasing after the neighborhood. He's like, get back here. That's for my son. You're stealing my son's birthday present, making a scene. And the kid gets over to his driveway, walks into the garage, gets a sledgehammer, and just starts smacking the box of the Xbox with the sledgehammer. And obviously, everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that? And he's not hearing us, man. He's like got the hammer mode from Super Smash Bros. He's just smacking back and forth. I swear, I thought this dude was trying to get to bedrock level so he could do a diamond farm the way he's smacking on this Xbox with this sledgehammer, just beating it like Chris Brown. It was just not a good combination. So I'm watching the Xbox One gets destroyed. My dad's pissing like himself a little bit. Sorry, Dad, hate to embarrass you, you know, but you did urinate yourself a small amount with anger. So it walks over to him and like knocks him away from the Xbox with the sledgehammer and is screaming at him, what are you doing? And the kid, when he realizes what he's done and like the troubles he's in, does the creepiest thing. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't look bad. He doesn't run inside and try to hide. He starts smiling, like this creepy ear-to-ear smile after he realizes that he just like ruined the day, which is definitely just the confirmation that this kid is 100% a psychopath. Like, if you start smiling after you ruin someone's birthday, it kind of shows that you've got no empathy and you might be missing the whole good person part of your brain. Not that there was a lot of good left, I guess, after you willingly smashed somebody that you claim to be a friend's birthday present. Like, what a weird thing to attack. So my dad is trying to figure out, he's like, why would you do that? Why would you smash the Xbox? And the neighbor kid with this creepy smile on his face is like, I don't know, I thought it would be funny. And from my perspective, it was not very funny. Okay, I really wanted that Xbox. I was not too happy about the fact that it got smashed. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Like, after wanting something for months and only asking for that, and like, you know, opening it only to have it smashed by your psycho neighbor with a sledgehammer, it is not the most fun thing to see. It's not like your typical birthday. Oh, all my wildest dreams came true, Dad. My wildest thing that I wanted forever was smashed by a crazy kid with a hammer. Who'da thunk? Also, who lets their psychopath kid just be vibing with the sledgehammer? Like, if you know your kid's crazy, if he's a troublemaker, you keep the sledgehammers locked up. I'm just not taking any chances. All of this could have been avoided with proper sledgehammer safety. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say. Obviously, this is an issue, so my dad talks to the kid's mom. She agrees to pay for a new Xbox One X and basically says to not talk to the kid anymore. So, like, the mom is covering for him, which is wild. If my son was walking around beating electronic devices with sledgehammers and making me have to pay for it, he would definitely get a little bit more than just, like, a pat on the wrist and me paying for it. Nah, I'd be making this kid go pull weeds until I felt like he had earned the Xbox One that he ended up smashing. So no wonder he ended up being an entitled little crap and like thinking he could do this because mommy just bails him out all the time. It's like that one guy that got away with drunk driving because he was too rich. Do you guys remember that? That was a whole thing. So yeah, my neighbor ended up ruining one of my birthdays, smashing an Xbox One X. I still do have an Xbox One X though, so that's the only benefit, is I did get it replaced. And as for that kid's mom, there's a reason that your kid's definitely going to end up in prison, and the cops won't just take a free Xbox One X. Like, when he robs somebody else, you know, and the police catch him, they're not going to be like, oh, well, if your mom replaces everything, 10-4, good buddy, we'll just let you go. No harm, no foul. You know how it is. I'm pretty sure other laws carry more weight. On that note, though, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of the video. If you are really a fan, I upload every day. You should turn on those notifications. I give a shout out. Today's notification shout out goes to Georgie1243. Big thank you for having on those notifications. Check out the merch. Also, go to gfuel.com. Use code Scrubby at checkout if you give yourselves a big brain answer. And, yeah, check out the other channels as well. Big thank you for all the support. The upload streak continues. I know this story was shorter. We were on a long streak, like, what, 3 17-minute stories in a row, so it's only fair we get back to our roots here. Might be a little short, but it's the thought that counts. But, yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and keep an eye out on your Xbox when a sledgehammer's nearby. I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And if you are having a great day, then be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Every time you walk into your living room, you're gonna stub your toe. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't seem like it'd be a ton of fun to stub your toe every time you walk inside, so press the like button. Real talk, though, guys, I think it's safe to say the world has definitely changed a lot in the last month. Like, a month ago, you could go to the store no problem and get toilet paper, and now you have to wipe with washcloths. A lot of things have just changed, and something that has changed for me is the amount of boredom that I have. I wouldn't say that I'm like a super active person, but quarantine has got me to my limits when it comes to entertainment, so much so that I was checking my Facebook the other day. And I haven't checked Facebook since like 7th grade, mainly because that social media died harder than, I don't know, a game that died really hard. But regardless, while on Facebook, I found a post that I just really needed to make a video about. A post so bizarre and just like so out there that you guys needed to see it too. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about today, and without further ado, let's get into it. Fellow parents, I need some advice on how to punish my child for what they did today, because I find myself at a lack of words. I figured I would turn to Facebook. My son Michael is home with his grandpa during this outbreak since I am a nurse and need to work. My dad is a great role model and has done a lot to help raise Michael. Regardless, today while home from school, Michael was playing the game Fortnite while his grandpa watched on the couch. You know, so far so good. Little Timmy Two Toes really on his Fortnite grind, making grandpa watch. I'm not really sure if Gramps understands the importance of needing to get a victory royale, but regardless, I guess if you're gonna be locked down with anything, your grandpa and an Xbox is a pretty solid thing to be locked up with. But I'm just trying to figure out where this is gonna go, because if she is turning to Facebook for parenting advice, you know it has to be pretty bad. Like, turning to Facebook for parenting advice is basically the equivalent of leaving your kid with a pack of wolves and letting him be raised by them. Facebook parenting is definitely a 0 out of 10. Nobody whose mom gets parenting advice on Facebook has ever done great things later. After a few hours of playing, Grandpa told my son it was time to take a break and go do something else. This is perfectly okay because he's only supposed to play for a few hours anyways. My son, instead of being a good boy, decided to wait until his grandpa fell asleep and then pounce on him and strap my dad to the chair he was in with a roll of duct tape. And this is when it starts to take a turn for the worse. So little Timmy Two Toes, I guess, is addicted to Fortnite like some people are really out there craving crack or heroin. If my grandpa told me to get off the Xbox, my first thought as a child would never be, well, Grandpa, you may have gotten the upper hand this time. I can't get the Vic Roys with my friends, but trust me, the second you fall asleep, I'm gonna pounce on you like a leopard in a nature documentary and duct tape you to the chair where you can't do anything about it. Your kid is just low-key a psychopath if he's taking his grandpa and duct taping him to lazy boy recliners so that way he can play video games. Like, how deprived is this kid? Yeah, you know me, whenever my parents tell me no, I just look at him and say, don't make me do you like I did Grandpa. My mom found me waterboarding him in the garage one day after he told me no, that I couldn't have any more Lucky Charms. I told him it doesn't matter if I have diabetes, old man, I'm still gonna live longer than you. I'm also saying, your parenting's gotta be pretty messed up if your kid ever does this. Like, I get sometimes kids just go crazy, you know, they do bad things, but why is your kid low-key even thinking about this? What have you taught your son to the point where whenever somebody tells him no, he instantly starts talking about and thinking about how to incapacitate them so he can do what he wants? My stupid stupid teacher said no. I bet you she wouldn't say no if I had a roll of rope and I could tie her to her chair and then make her watch me pee on her desk. That was a sentence and a half that had to get out. Those combinations of words have never come out of my mouth before, so I just think I got a little confused. Regardless, you guys won't believe me. The post somehow gets worse. After strapping down his grandpa, he proceeded to game in front of him, and when grandpa was talking, he decided to put his socks in his mouth to keep him quiet. My dad is 82 and doesn't have the strength to fight back. So not only is grandpa not just a grandpa, he's a Great Depression survivor, but on top of that, this kid has the savagery to duct tape grandpa to a chair and then just keep gaming with him. Like, yeah, Gramps, I know you told me to get off, but now that you're stuck on the chair, let me force you to watch me do what you just told me not to. This kid is a psychopath. Like, this kid is definitely going to end up in prison one day. Yo, man, when was the first time you committed a crime? Well, technically, I kidnapped my grandpa in a weird way. I did duct tape him to a chair in the basement. Fortunately, my grandpa believed in me and didn't want to press charges. People who are willing to attack their 82-year-old grandpa over a game of Fortnite definitely are not the type of people you want to end up with in life. Any girls watching this video, stay away from dating men who are willing to commit crimes for games. It's just not worth it. I don't care how addicted you are to League of Legends. It doesn't give you an excuse to run an online crime ring to pay for skins. Regardless, little Timmy Two Toes here literally attacks his grandpa and keeps him taped to a chair. But the most disrespectful part, beyond just kidnapping grandpa and strapping him to a chair, is the way he kept grandpa quiet. I guess when he was gaming with the boys, grandpa was getting a little bit too loud in the headset, complaining about the restraints he had on his wrist, taping him to the chair. So he decided to take off his disgusting sweaty socks and put them in grandpa's mouth. It's degrading enough to be duct taped to a chair by your grandson, but imagine your grandson shoving some sweaty, nasty, stanky, gross, disgusting socks in your mouth. This kid, I'm pretty sure, just broke like 18 human rights codes with the amount of gross things he did to his grandpa with just those socks. My son kept him in that chair strapped down with duct tape until I returned home and had to free my father. Anger doesn't begin to describe my emotions right now. What punishment do you think is fair? I love how she's putting this to a poll on Facebook, like an Instagram influencer with a poll on their story. Like, do you guys like my hair better blonde or brunette? Like, what should I do to my son that tortured my 82-year-old dad all day? Do you guys think I should punish him, or should I high-five him and reward him for work well done? I also love the fact that 14 people liked the post and like nobody reacted with a sad face. 14 people just liked it. Who cares that grandpa was tied down? Not my problem. As for what punishment I think is appropriate, I'm really not sure. I'm not an expert, but this sounds like a case for Dr. Phil. This really sounds like something you would see on a TV show. My son, while being disrespectful, ended up duct taping grandpa to a chair and not feeding him for 3 days as he went on a binge gaming session of Fortnite. This does not even sound real. I feel like the appropriate punishment is like sending him to the ranch, but sadly those are all shut down. So I guess, I don't know, maybe send him to a coal mine in the middle of Liberia. I feel like there's not much redeeming a kid willing to kidnap grandpa to play more Fortnite. It's not even like it was a good game. Maybe it would be understandable if it was the new Animal Crossing or something. Now that is worth tying up grandpa. But if you're still tying up grandpa over Fortnite in 2020, it's just a matter of time till you start tying people up in your trunk. That's just my opinion. But the best part is these comments that are on it. There's only 3, but every single one of them is absolutely golden. Honestly, I think he is just bored during quarantine. That and liberal information they teach in schools are probably rotting his mind. I pray for him. I'm not gonna make a comment on anything involving like liberal education or whatever, but I'm just saying I don't think any type of education tells kids to tie up their grandparents. Conservative, liberal, it really doesn't matter what side of politics your teachers are on. They shouldn't be teaching you that it's perfectly okay to tie up the elderly. Like, I don't think his education has anything to do with this. I also love how this person says that he was just bored. Like, yeah, you know how boys will be when they get bored, they tie up grandpa because grandpa deserves it. It's It's the natural right of man. You beat up your grandpa, tie him up in the basement, don't feed him for a month, and then use his corpse to feed the cows. Wait, what are you making excuses for this kid for? This isn't even a suggestion. This is just like trying to be a lawyer for this kid to get out of his court case. Thank you for sharing, smiley face sick emoji. And the best part is the mom who posted this liked this, which apparently means it was her favorite comment. I don't know what this dude's deal is. He's looking a little bit creepy in his profile picture. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna show it because I don't want anyone going and like finding him, but he's looking kind of creepy, and I'm just saying it's weird to say thanks for sharing on a story of a child committing elder abuse. Wow, sure am glad to hear the story of kids finally standing up to the boomers. They're ruining the planet, and tying them up is the only way that they're going to learn their lesson and stop listening to that libtard education. The Facebook comment section is just a place where like brain cells go to die. But the best comment of them all, ladies and gentlemen, comes from a Facebook account that appears to be owned by the grandma of the kid who apparently tied up her husband, the 82-year-old grandpa. I don't know where the wife was when this was going on, but this comment really just brought joy to my heart, and it was, he probably deserved to be tied up. This grandma is pulling no punches. She wants her husband quarantined permanently. I just love how like casually this family's taking it, dude. Their kid is really low-key a psychopath, and grandma's out here trying to blame her husband. That is what we call a family lifestyle. The like on the comment makes it even better too. I'm really not sure what family dynamics are going on here, but I really do hope that my grandkids never decide to duct tape me to a chair to play Fortnite. I'd rather just play with them because there's no way they can crank 90s like their old man. Regardless though, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to comment down below what you think this kid's punishment should be, because apparently the Facebook mom wants to know. Subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications. If you turn on notifications, I sent a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby. I shout somebody out every single day, and today's notification shout out goes to Flamati. Big thank you for having on those notifications, and yeah, enjoy your quarantine. I'm gonna go look at more Facebook posts because this was great. Hopefully you guys have a great time. I'm gonna go also tape myself to a chair to look for Facebook posts. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day, because I'm kind of frustrated, alright? I just recorded half of a video, accidentally deleted my audio, and now have to re-record it. But that's life. But if you feel bad for me, then be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. I will be forced to sue you with the wrath of every attorney in America. Yeah, that's right. Because of the quarantine, they're desperate for work, and I happen to have enough Karen ad revenue to sue you with the wrath of all of them. So be sure to press the like button, otherwise you're gonna face massive legal consequences, and that's not dope. Regardless, guys, today is a skate park story that you guys have been asking about for a while. Every time I tell a story, I swear I get at least like 50 comments saying, tell more skating stories, same thing. So yeah, here you guys go. So there was this kid that was a regular at the skate park named Brandon, and he was a 17-year-old kid. He was a good skater. He was pretty solid at it, and he was pretty nice to hang out with the other kids, but his biggest problem is that he had no filter. Like, there's just a certain amount of keeping your mouth shut that you have to do to exist in society. If I said everything I think out loud all the time to everybody, it just wouldn't go well all the time. Like, everybody has had to keep their mouth shut. You've been pissed at a teacher and just stop talking to avoid getting in trouble. That type of stuff. You have a filter and know when to talk. And Brandon didn't really have that. If you pissed him off or he didn't like you, he made it very apparent, and if you were arguing with him and he felt that he was right, he wasn't going to give up until like the end of time. He was a pretty cool dude though, for the most part. I don't really argue with people a ton outside of Karens and people that are dumb, but like he wasn't a dumb guy, so we didn't really fight a lot. I never had him on my bad side. I was never on his bad side, so his stubbornness didn't really bug me a ton when I was hanging out with him. But one day we're at the skate park after school, and something that annoys all skaters is when parents like come to the skate park, drop their kid off like it's a daycare, and then don't pay attention to them, and the kid like doesn't even have a skateboard. Obviously little kids skating is a good thing, and if their parents, want them to be safe and bring them to the skate park, then skaters will usually be super nice to your kid, help him if he, needs any help, like tell him good job when he lands a cool trick. they'll be nice to your kid. But when you bring your 2 5-year-olds to the park without anything with wheels and tell them that the quarter pipe is a slide and that if they get in our ways, it's not a big deal, it's just annoying. I'm never gonna yell at your kid just because it's not his fault that you're a crappy parent, but it is really, really frustrating when parents bring their kid to the skate park and just like leave them there to run around and be free, because it's just not the place for that, especially because in every skate park I've ever been to, there's literally a jungle gym 5 feet away. But one day we're all skating and it was like a pretty good after school skate session, and these 2 moms pull up, and the way they pull up is just with attitude. They let their kids into the park and they very loudly pronounce, since it's a public park and nobody can say anything, which like low-key in retrospect made me feel like they'd been told before that their kids running around the skate park is kind of annoying, because they made a point to awkwardly yell at us but not yell at us as they walked in and let their kids loose. And the kids weren't bad. The kids weren't intentionally trying to like cause any problems that day, but they were just 5-year-olds that didn't understand like the skate park rules of not getting in people's way, making sure people aren't coming when you're about to ride down a ramp, or like just staying out of the way because they're 5-year-olds. It's not their fault. But obviously they very quickly end up getting in our way a ton, and I'm just kind of like, whatever, no big deal. I don't really care because they're kids. They don't know any better. It's their parents' fault that they're stuck in this situation. I'm not going to do anything. But Brandon is getting pissed, not at the kids, but he's getting mad at the moms. And whenever he would get mad at the skate park, he would go do a trick with like, that was pretty hard and had a good chance of him getting hurt, because whenever he was pissed, he would just didn't care if he get hurt, he just keep trying the trick. So he goes back into the corner of the skate park, basically isolated from everybody else. There's really no reason for anyone else to go back there. The only obstacle back there is this like 6 stair with this kind of short runoff and like a kind of crappy run up, and he just goes back there and starts trying to land a trick down the stair set. And like I said, there's really no reason for anyone to go back there. Like it's off in the corner by itself, and there's no other obstacle there. And he's trying and he's trying and he's trying for about an hour, and at this point I'm not skating. I'm just kind of like standing there with him, watching him try to land the trick, because the 5-year-olds are snaking everybody, but it's not their fault. And meanwhile, while these kids are snaking everybody and like ruining the vibe of the skate park, the moms have gotten back in their car and are just like chain smoking cigarettes with the windows open, blaring country music super loud, and hadn't even looked at the kids or like talked to them at all. So the parents aren't paying attention, and one of the kids, for whatever reason, one of the 5-year-olds, comes over to the stair set where he's skating, trying to land the trick, and just like sits on the stairs. So Brandon is like, hey buddy, can you please move off the stairs? I'm trying to do a trick down it. And the kid, because obviously his mom hasn't set the best example always, is like, screw you, 5-year-old telling, screw you, I can sit wherever I want. My mom says it's a public park and you can't tell me where to go. And Brandon, without his filter, like starts opening his mouth, but I like, you know, put my hand on his chest, I push him back a little bit, try to calm things down, and I say, hey buddy, look, he's been trying to land the trick for a while. We understand it's a park. We're not telling you have to leave, but can you just go anywhere else in the park that's not isolated so he can land the trick? And it's not even like the kid was watching. He's sitting on the stairs that he is trying to go down. Like, there is no practical way to do the trick without just knocking this kid out. It's not like he's coming over and being nice, and he's giving him attitude. Like, it's just not a good situation. I know Brandon's pissed, so I'm trying to diffuse it. And the kid starts getting mouthy with me. He's like, fine, I'll go away. But like, he's never going to land it anyways. He probably sucks at skating. Just being a little bit of a brat. Like I said, the kid was a jerk, but he was so young. I don't really want to blame it on him because like, it's probably his mom just telling him what to say and a lot of stuff. Anyways, Brandon is about to land the trick. And like I said, the runoff is pretty short. And the kid is like just far enough away where I can't really see him, but I know he's there. And as Brandon's getting closer and closer to landing the trick, he's like getting hyped. He's like, yo, I'm gonna land it. So he finally goes and he hits it and he's rolling off. And like I said, it's a very short runoff, so he's still going fast. And the kid runs out and just sits in front of him. And obviously, this is how physics works. Big kid going fast with momentum, little kid stopped dead in tracks. So Brandon, completely on accident, I swear the kid runs out of nowhere, just gets plowed over and just hits the ground with a thud. And like, you know when skin smacks concrete and it just echoes and everybody in like a short radius, you know, can hear it? Well, I guess the chain smoking moms listening to country music hear it, because What I see next after Brandon runs over to the kid and starts being like, are you okay? Can I help you at all? Trying to do the nice thing and take care of the kid that definitely just committed seppuku. Like, why would you run out and jump in front of something moving fast? It's just basic physics. When a fast-moving object meets something that's the lighter than it destroys it. It's like a meteor smacking into the earth. He basically dinosaur extinction to this kid. I'm surprised the kid didn't get any brain damage. He probably already had some, so you couldn't tell even if there was any. Anyways, as he's trying to help the kid up because the kid is kind of stuck on the ground, an angry, like, mom just comes running over and is like, who hit my kid? You know, with that Alabama drawl. Very 10 out of 10 content up in here. I'm going to get my accents on fleek. I'm telling you, doing all these Karen impersonations, redneck moms. I'm really going to just master every accent known to man. So she runs over. Who hit my kid? I'm going to knock you out, I swear. I'm going to take this Kenny Chesney guitar, smack it upside your head, break the strings on your front teeth, I swear it to you. And obviously, Brandon tries to explain the situation, but like I said, he doesn't have a filter, so he started explaining that her idiot kid ran over and got stomped on because he deserved it, and he was being an idiot, and he was mouthing off earlier, which the kid didn't deserve it, and he didn't get stomped on, but like, you get the idea. But the mom, you know, hears that her son just got stomped on, and this kid's pissed, and obviously is like, we're fighting. Giant misunderstanding. Really not the situation at hand was not what happened. She thought that he had literally went out of his way to knock down her kid, and he was trying to explain that her son was being an idiot and ran in front of the skateboard. Didn't say it the right way, but the mom now thinks that we're just like bullying these poor 5-year-olds. So she is just running at Brandon and is like, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you. So I'm trying to break it up because I understand the misunderstanding. I don't want them to fight, but the mom is starting to swing, and you know, the smell of like 15 cigarettes while her kid is crying on the ground mixed with Brandon screaming at her, just it was a very chaotic moment. So I'm trying to break him up, and she starts like swinging over me to try to hit Brandon. And in the process, when she's swinging over Brandon, he steps back and her fist like recurls around. I don't even know how that even happens, what type of punch you're throwing. And it hits me in the back of the head. And I'm not gonna lie, you can say what you want about her parenting skills, but she grew up in a house where she could punch pretty well because it hurt. I think getting punched in the back of the head always hurts, but I get punched in the back of the head. I'm like, chill. She's like, I'm gonna hurt you for hitting my kid. I'm like, you didn't hit your kid. She's like, what do you mean? And I finally get her to calm down enough after getting punched in the back of the head to explain to her that what had happened was he was over by the stairs. We told him to go away. He said no. And she's like, well, you can't tell my kid to go away. It's it's a public park. I'm like, yes, it's a public park. But he lands it and he's riding away. And as you can see, there's not a big runoff and And she's like, oh, well, why was he mouthing off? And Brandon's like, well, because maybe you're a crappy parent. Just starts fighting her again. So she gets up again, and I like get between her. I'm like, guys, can we not fight here? And she's like, well, you know what? If you guys are going to be disrespectful to my kid and try to run him over, then I don't want him here anyways. We're going home. And she picks up her kid who's still laying on the ground and probably has a concussion because he got laid out pretty brutally, and like drags his limp self over to the car, gets in with her friend. You know, the Kelly Clarkson starts blaring again. They light another cigarette and drive away. And we're all just sitting here like, what is going on? I don't even know how to process what just happened. And so you've been punched in the head by a redneck mom. You don't really know what life's about. And after that moment, I became a Buddhist monk and went to learn Shaolin Kung Fu. No, but real talk, moral of the story is, I guess make sure your kids don't get run over by the skate park by not chain smoking cigarettes and blasting Kelly Clarkson around them. That's probably why they were just so misbehaved, is they only had to listen to Kelly Clarkson all the time. They wanted to rebel. They're like, please do anything. Any brain injury is better than blaring country music. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and if you're new, be sure to send me proof of you turning on those notifications to my Instagram at Scrubby. Shout somebody out every day. Today's notification shout out goes to Samuel Anderson. Big thank you for having on those notifications. What an OG didgeridoo. And yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I promise that whoever I get pregnant will at least be a solid 12 out of 10. And get the merch if you haven't already. Use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. I really want this to be 12 minutes because it looks so much more aesthetically pleasing than 11:49 on the list of videos. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. I'll be sad. Yeah, that's right. You don't want me to have a frowny face, so if you could press the like button so that way YouTube actually puts this video and recommended, I'd appreciate it. Anyways, guys, today I've got a chill story time. You know, I was reading your guys' comments on the last video, and a lot of you guys said you really miss when I would be, like, more chill. So, I went through my catalog. You know, I was thinking about stuff that's gone on in my life that I think I could make, entertaining without having to scream too much. And I remembered the time where, this girl's grandpa was seriously getting put in the back of an ambulance, and I was watching her film a TikTok, and she asked me to take a picture with it. Low-key, I guess some people are terrible. You know, your grandpa's getting loaded in the back of an ambulance. You might never see him again because old people are fragile and stuff, and you're like, hey, look, if my grandpa's gonna die either way, I might as well get some TikTok clout out of it. And yeah, it should be a fun video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and without further ado, let's get into it. So, a little bit of a backstory. Last summer, my parents threw like this family get-together thing where basically, you know, everyone and their mom came over to my parents' house, and we had like a barbecue in the backyard. All my aunts, all my uncles, all my cousins, everybody's gone to the family party. You know, your uncle gets too drunk, makes inappropriate comments. All been there, done that. And at this family party, I was talking to my mom about what's going on because I hadn't seen her in like a week or two. And she's telling me, you know, that my cousins are enjoying like their new house in the neighborhood. My family's super whack. Basically, everybody but me lives within like 3 blocks of each other. My aunt, my uncle, my grandma, and my mom and dad all live within like 2 streets of it. And my aunt had just moved there with like 3 of my cousins. And she's talking to me about how my aunt, you know, has this super sweet neighbor at the end of the street who's super great to the kids and is, you know, very helpful and super nice to the neighborhood. And my mom has like talked about this old dude that lives near my aunt and grandma before and how he's super nice. And this is a really old dude, okay? I don't want to insult elderly people because I honestly think old people are awesome because they just don't have to care. Old people are allowed to be rude. Old people are allowed to insult people, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're old. And because of that, I just think old people are funny. And this dude is pretty old. He's so old I wouldn't be surprised if he sat behind Jesus in the 3rd grade. You know, he's so old he kind of looks like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars with the amount of wrinkles he has. And that's not really an insult. He's a super nice dude. I'm just telling you guys that this was a really, really old man. But regardless, he's super nice to my aunt and my cousin. And then my mom, you know, gets close and does that like hush tone that all the moms do when they're about to drop the hottest gossip on the street, you know? And my mom is a little bit of a gossip, all right? I love her till the end of time, but she has a little bit of a problem with talking about other people's business a little bit. And she starts telling me that the super old man that lives near my aunt and grandma, and also his house is visible from my parents' house. It is so weird that my family all lives so close together. Like, I love my family a ton, but I need at least 2 neighborhoods of distance between me and my family, you know? I gotta keep it fresh. I don't want my aunt, like, dropping in the middle of the day while I'm cooking pancakes naked or anything. She starts telling me that this 85-year-old man that looks like he sat behind Jesus in the 3rd grade has taken in his granddaughter, and she's a train wreck. My cousins are like the same age as her, or at least one of them is. I have one cousin who's 15 and one who's 17, and this girl is 16. And they're telling me that she's always in trouble, she's always skipping school, but because her grandpa is, you know, older than Franklin the Turtle, he doesn't really know much about it. Like, it's pretty easy to get away with a bunch of easy crimes. Not even crimes, that's too strong of a word. It's really easy to get away with stuff when your grandpa is so old that, like, even if you sneak out, shaking a can in a Macarena at the same time, making as much noise as humanly possible, his old deaf ears won't hear you. So it's pretty easy to get up to mischief most of the time when your grandpa can't stop you even if he wanted to. And now his granddaughter is always causing all these problems. And to be honest, I looked at my mom and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy, but I'm gonna go play football with my cousins now. Basically any excuse to get away from the gossip, dude, because my aunt walked over. And when 2 moms start talking about like neighborhood gossip, it's just never gonna end. And I'm not trying to spend 7 hours listening to my aunt and mom talk about my neighbors. So I go outside with my cousin who, like I said, 17, 15, and we just start throwing the football around, playing catch, catching up. How's school going? How's YouTube going? The normal combo. And like I said, from my house, like around, or not my house, my parents' house that I grew up in, like around the corner, you can see this old dude's house. And as we're playing football, an ambulance comes tearing down our street, turns the corner, and starts going to the old dude's house. And like I said, he's been super nice to my aunt and my cousins, so my cousins are obviously like, oh my god, what do we do? And I'm like, all right, well, let's go down there and see if they need anything, like see if there's anything we can do. And I obviously don't think there's much I can do to help paramedics. I'm not trained in anything, but like, I didn't know what to do. What are you supposed to do? I didn't know what to do. So I probably made the wrong choice. People in the comments right now are probably like, oh my God, why would you go see if they needed anything? My bad for like trying to do the right thing, all right? Most of you guys would have been like, oh, that's crazy, and gone back inside and played Fortnite. At least I was trying to do something, you know? But yeah, I probably looked like an absolute clown. So we walked down there and we realized that they're not gonna need our help very quickly because we're a bunch of idiots and they are trained paramedics that are, you know, taught for years how to deal with situations like this. So obviously they don't need any help from people as dumb as us. But whatever, we're standing down there and the paramedics go in the house, and about 10 minutes later, out comes this old man on a stretcher. You know, he's got an oxygen mask on his face and he does not look conscious. It's not looking very good. You know, he's an old man, like I said, 85, and when 85-year-olds go unconscious and the ambulance has to come respond to them, it's usually not a good sign. As I learned in The Lion King, the circle of life is fragile, and it looks like this dude is not in the good part of the circle of life. So me and my cousins are standing there in absolute silence because I just watched an old man that looks like he's on the verge of death get taken out of his house. So I'm obviously not doing too hot. The guy's not doing better. My little cousin who's 15 is crying because this old man is like the only person that's been nice to them in their new neighborhood, and he's watching him get carted out. So obviously we're just like sitting there in silence, you know, because I'm not an expert on what to do in this situation. I'm just like, yeah, frozen up like an idiot because sometimes I'm just dumb, I guess. And as we're sitting there watching this old man get loaded into the back of an ambulance, out comes this guy's granddaughter who, you know, 16 years old probably, if I had to guess. I didn't like ask for her school ID after this. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm going to be making a YouTube video about how bad of a person it appears that you are. Can you please do me a favor and let me see your school ID so I can verify your age? Like that probably wouldn't go over well. And she comes out, phone in her hand, and as she's walking by us to like get a video of her grandpa getting put in the back of an ambulance, I hear a song and I look and she's making a TikTok. And guys, this is how bad it is. As she's filming this TikTok, my brain is like a little bit delayed picking things up because obviously, you know, when you're watching people get loaded in an ambulance, you kind of don't pay attention to most surroundings. She is making a TikTok to the Charlie Puth song, See You Again with Wiz Khalifa, the song that they play after Paul Walker died in the Fast and Furious. This girl's grandpa definitely like just had a seizure or something, is getting loaded into the back of an ambulance, and she is making a TikTok with the song See You Again. Like, if that's your first thought, yeah, grandma's in the hospital, man. If we want any juicy TikTok clout, we better get to the hospital quick. They said she has 2 hours left. That means that if we each make 15 TikToks, we have enough content to spread it out and post it for simple. So obviously this girl is like TikToking her grandpa getting loaded in the back of the ambulance, right? And I'm just sitting here flabbergasted at this girl just really being willing to TikTok her grandpa right before he gets loaded in the back of an ambulance. So she finishes her TikTok and turns around and sees me and my cousin standing there, and she walks up to us and goes, oh, where are you guys from? So I explain like, oh, I used to live here, like my parents are, and I say their name, and she's like, oh, okay. And she obviously recognizes my cousins, and she's like, hey, will you take a picture with me in the ambulance? And I go, oh yeah, for like insurance? And she goes, no, I just want something to post on Instagram to let people know that my grandpa's in the hospital. And I'm like, and she hands me her phone, goes over to the ambulance and does the pose. You know the pose where like girls stick their back out to make their butt look bigger? Like, this girl is trying to thirst trap next to the ambulance that is holding her grandpa. So I just am like holding the phone, and she's like, are you gonna take the picture? And my cousin takes it out of my hand, takes a couple pictures and gives it to her. She looks and goes, no, I don't like these, take more, and is making us take more pictures. So at this point, the old man's all loaded in, and he's like, all right, well, he's not like, all right. The paramedics say, are any of you related to him? You know, are you family? And obviously, I'm not his family. Me and my cousins say no. The granddaughter goes, oh, I'm his granddaughter. And they're like, okay, do you want to ride with us in the ambulance to the hospital? And she goes, what hospital? And they tell her, and she goes, no, it's okay. And the paramedic's kind of like, oh, all right. That's not the response I'm used to relatives giving when their relatives are going to the hospital, but okay. And the ambulance leaves to take him to the hospital. So after the ambulance leaves, I look at the girl, I'm like, oh, do you need a ride to the hospital? I mean, it's weird you turn down the ambulance, but like, you're not thinking thinking right. You know, your grandpa just went to the hospital. You're probably just, I don't know, not thinking, I guess. And she looks and goes, oh no, I'm not gonna go visit him in the hospital. That's gross. And went back inside. And I'm like, what? Oh no, my grandpa who took me in because, I don't know, and is raising me out of the kindness of his heart that he doesn't have to do, that went to the hospital after being sure to take care of me all the time. Yeah, I'm not gonna visit him because hospitals are gross. So after that terrible interaction, bro, we go back to my family party and we're telling my mom and my aunt, and they're like, see, I told you, she's just nothing but trouble. And you know, it was just a very uncomfortable situation, I'm not gonna lie. I just can't, like, I love my grandma, dude. My grandma is the greatest person to ever exist. If she was ever in the hospital, bro, I would sprint there faster than Usain Bolt in the Olympics. I wouldn't be like, hey, can you guys take a picture of me with my butt hanging out for Instagram next to this ambulance? Oh, I'm not gonna go visit my grandma in the hospital. That's disgusting. Like, I guess some people are just bad. Low-key, I hope her TikTok popped off, though, because the comment section would probably be like, why are you filming your grandma getting put in the back, or grandpa, excuse me, I was still thinking about my lovely grandma. Why are you thinking about your grandpa getting put in the back of an ambulance and your first thought is to just whip out the TikTok? I guess that's just some people, though. Like, some people are just bad people. There's no saving it. But on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. I know the story time was a little more chill, alright? Like, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna title it. Don't really know if the clickbait is really there. But regardless, I enjoyed making this video, you know? Nice chill vibes. If you guys have any other advice, you know, anything you want to see, let me know. Turn on those notifications, and yeah, today's notification shout out goes to the very swagtastic Exotic Bell. Big thank you for having on notifications. I really appreciate it. If you want a notification shout out, turn on the noties, send a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby. Check out the merch, follow me on Twitter, and don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I beat Bumpkin in a 1v1. That's what matters. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You'll get the coronavirus. Yeah, that's right, boys. Not pressing the like button is a guaranteed one-way trip to coronavirus city, and it's not pretty. Anyways, guys, today I have a story about a weird kid that I met back in school, alright? This is actually a weird kid that I met in college, you know. You know how it goes every now and then. You just meet someone and you're like, wow, you're someone worth talking about. Like, I'm gonna tell my friends about how weird of a person you are, right? And this person definitely was up there on the weird scale, because most people outgrow their weird in like middle school or high school, but if your weird makes it all the way to college with you, dude, if you're unpacking in your dorm room, unpacking your weird when you're like 20, there's something wrong, alright? Like, your weirdness is never gonna go away. You're gonna be permanently weird, perma-weird, as they call it on the streets. Regardless, though, it is entertaining, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today, so without further ado, let's get into it. So, in college, for whatever reason, we had this assignment where we had to partner up with 3 other kids in our class and write an essay about what we wanted to be when we grow up, you know? Like, what were we in college to do? What was our dream job, you know? And it was a pretty easy project for me. I quite literally wrote my essay about how I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be in college, and then like 2 months later I wasn't in college, you know? So my assignment gets done quick, but like I said, we had to work with a group, and however we were in class, we had to get with our essay group and talk about our essays and what was going on. So I finished mine in like the first 2 days, because it's quite literally just 5 pages of me being like, I don't know, I just feel like this is a waste of my time. So that gets done pretty quick, but other people weren't so lucky, you know? There was another kid in the group who was pretty cool, and he wanted to be like a doctor, so he's writing about how he wants to save people's lives, you know, a stand-up citizen. I want to sacrifice my life and learn everything I can to help as many people as possible and make bank along the way. Like, that's a pretty cool dude, you know? You want to be a doctor, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. There was another kid in our group, though, named Gavin, who was a bit bizarre. The first time he was writing his essay and showed us his rough draft, he wanted to be a level 7 wizard. I guess he played some, like, you know, LARPing game, and him and his friends had made up their own ranks, and you could only level up once every 10 years. So his life goal was to live to be 80, you know, not for anything cool, just so he could be a level 7 wizard in their LARPing game, you know? I don't want kids, I don't want a wife, I just want to make it to be 80 to make it in my LARP game. But whatever, man, everybody's into something different. I ain't really gonna judge you that hard, so I was like, yo, that's pretty dope, but I don't think our teacher is gonna vibe with it, you know? It's kind of asking, why are you in college? And I don't think there's a college class called being a level 7 warlock at the age of 86. And something that this dude would do was constantly tell us how much smarter he was than us, alright? He'd be like, yeah, I've taken plenty of IQ tests class online, and don't take this the wrong way, but like, you simpletons probably won't be able to grasp my essay when it's done. You guys had a hard time understanding my rough draft, and so, you know, I'm just being called stupid by a man whose life goal it is to be like a level 7 wizard, and I'm just kind of vibing out, and you know, I'm just doing my thing trying to help him. And so he says, well, what should I write my essay about? So I tell him, well, it's about something in college. What are you getting your degree in? And he says business. I'm like, all right, well, do you have any business ideas? And he goes, well, someone of my IQ level obviously has business ideas. You don't get to be to where I'm at by, you know, not being a genius. Ah, yes, how could I forget the ever-increasing genius pool of level 7 wizards, dude? Like, I didn't really know how this dude wanted me to respond to that. Like, obviously, I have business ideas if I'm a level 7 wizard. Oh, yeah. Who could forget that when you go on Shark Tank, the most important thing to do is look at Mark Cuban and go, listen, Mark, I have no business experiences, but I'll tell you what, I'd be a mean level 7 wizard, all right? So give me my $15 million for 1% of my company, and let's get out of here, all right? Quit playing games. It's not funny anymore. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not how that works, but whatever. He decides that he's gonna go home and come back with a fantastic business plan, one that's gonna blow me out of the water, the teacher out of the water, get him an A on his essay. I'm like, all right, dude, good for you. Because in all honesty, I hope every single one of you comes up with a great business plan and becomes billionaires. You guys all deserve that life. So whatever, the next day comes and he walks in smug and he starts telling us how we're about to witness the next level of the future, okay? The idea that he came up with is so foolproof. He can personally guarantee he will be a millionaire by the end of the year. And we're like, all right, you know, Soish, what you got? Tell us about it. And so me and this kid are sitting there just like, you know, looking at this dude wide-eyed because obviously we don't think he has a plan that'll make him a millionaire by the end of the year. And he opens up with this. What is something that has entertained people through the eons? And we're like, I don't know. He's like, fighting, whether it be MMA or gladiators or even jousting. Combat has always been something that has brought people joy in times of entertainment. And we're like, all right, a little intense, but fair enough, bro. I like watching MMA. I'm not going to try to fight you, but every now and then, you know, I'll watch some people fight. It's pretty sick. Fair enough. And he goes, okay, what else have people loved since the beginning of time? What is man's best friend? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, dogs. Okay, fair enough. Dogs are man's best friend. But if you're like me and you're a logical person, you're probably thinking right now, I don't really understand what dogs and the fact that people like to watch fights has to do in common. Like, you're not quite sure how these things are related. And that's because you're a real human being with a brain who thinks. And he starts to explain to us that he's going to teach dogs how to box and then do a dog boxing league, which is dumb for a few reasons. First of all, you can't teach dogs how to box. That's not on their list of tricks. And when I told him that, trying to be a nice guy, hey man, it's a cool idea, but I'm pretty sure that you can't teach dogs how to box, he looked at me, got mad at me, and was like, ugh, such simpletons. Obviously, if you were smart enough, you could train dogs to do anything. Look at all the jobs that dogs already do. He starts saying they guide blind people, you know, they help police officers, they help firefighters. Dogs can be trained to do any job. And I'm like, yeah, but in all those instances, you know, they're kind of just trained to like sniff stuff. They're not trained to be fighting each other. Not to mention, dude, the other thing you forgot, dog fighting is illegal. It's illegal to make dogs fight each other. And he's like, whoa, no, because this would be different because they'd be boxing, not normal dog fighting. And I don't think the cops would fall for that. Like, imagine you're starting a dog boxing ring. The cops kick down the door. There's labradoodles with boxing gloves just sitting there. And you're like, hey, officer, what's going on in here? Definitely legal dog fighting. It's dog boxing. They have their licenses. You're still going to go to jail. So me and the other kid in the group are trying to politely tell this kid that no, starting a dog boxing league is probably not the best way to make $1 million. Like, it probably is not possible to do that and make a lot of money. So he starts going off about how we're stupid and we're not the teacher, so we should not be giving him any opinions on his business idea, and obviously we're too dumb to get it. Yes, I am too dumb to understand that starting a boxing league where dogs have to fight each other probably won't work. It is probably not going to be something that can work. I'm so sorry, you know? Imagine this dude just trying to train dogs like there's puppies. He's got them boxing gloves. He's like, all right, now fight away. And the puppies just look at him and like crawl away, dude. Like, how would you even train dogs to fight? I mean, they train them to like sniff stuff by, you know, using their strong nose and like rewarding them. What, are you gonna start giving the puppies treats every time they land like an RKO on somebody and knock them unconscious? How would you even train dogs to fight? So whatever. He goes off on me because I'm the idiot for telling him that a boxing league won't work. And he starts telling me how it's going to be bigger than the UFC because people love puppies and fighting, which is a really weird combination of stuff people love. That's the equivalent of this. People love eating, right? Everyone loves food in one way or another. Everybody loves one type of food. You might love In-N-Out. You might love Chinese food, China. You might love China. Sure, you might love China. I don't care. You can like whatever you like, man. Anyways, what else does the internet love? Kittens. So what if we put the two together and we started making cat burgers? Like, certain things that everybody loves shouldn't go together, okay? Everybody loves I don't know, popsicles, okay? People also love, going to the bathroom. I don't like when it feels like I have to pee, but I don't want to pee popsicle. Just because two things are liked does not mean that they go together, and that's okay. But obviously, I'm the moron. So he's yelling at me and this guy, and we're like, all right, then you do your paper on your own. We go to our teacher. We explain that he's, being, degrading to us in the group, and he's going to do it on his own. We don't want him to get in trouble. We don't want to cause any problems. We just don't want to be responsible for him. Our teacher's like, you know what? Okay, sounds good. He can do his project on his own. So me and my friend turned in our papers. I think I ended up getting a C. Okay, my other friend, who, wasn't really my friend, but obviously, I got along with him better than the person who was calling me a moron for not believing in the dog fighting league. Now we vibing, all right? So we turn ours in, we get it done. This kid gets a D because obviously our professor points out to him that you cannot start a dog fighting league for multiple reasons. The teacher puts on the essay, and I quote, "I don't think you could train dogs to fight. Also, pretty sure this is illegal." And you know what happens? The kid walks up to us and says, "Since you guys left the group, he graded mine unfairly and gave me a D when I should have gotten an A because my business plan was foolproof." So I'm like, all right, let us see your business plan, because it was a business class. And this is what he outlined. He outlined that he was going to charge people $3,000 to enter a dog in the dog fighting league. And then he was going to teach it to box personally. He was going to spend every day with a bunch of puppies that people paid $3,000 for, teaching them how to box. And when they learned how to box, then they would pay-per-view the fight for $200 on ESPN that he doesn't have a contract with. And it would sell out, and basically that's how they would make all their money. You're telling me people are going to pay twice what they pay for a Conor McGregor fight for a dog boxing league, bro? You're just delusional. But regardless, some people out there are weird, I guess some people out there just want to start a dog fighting league for some reason. Not even a dog fighting league, okay? No Michael Vick in here. A dog boxing league, and just don't understand it's a bad idea. And apparently, when you point out to them how bad their idea is, it's completely your fault. But I guess certain weird people out there really just be doing the most to give you good story times. But that's reality. Anyways, guys, on that note, that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed and you want to support the channel, check out the No Joke, No Scam merch. As you can see, it is very swag. Other than that, though, if you're new or if you're old, be sure to press the like button and comment down below. It helps out the channel a ton. And if you're new, turn on notifications. If you turn on those notifications and send a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby, I give somebody a shout out every day. Today's notification shout out goes to LEXPLR. Big thank you for having on notifications. As I said, if you want to shout out, take a screenshot of the notification bell being on, send it to my Instagram at Scrubby. Follow me over there. Follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69. And on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I got a pretty nice double kill coming up here, so I don't want to end the video yet. But yeah, I'm actually going to be making gaming videos on Scrubby, and some face cam stuff is going to be coming back too, I promise. I've actually cleared the time in my schedule to get it done, so I can guarantee you that's going to be there. So I know I've already shouted it out. More conspiracy stuff on the way as well. I'm going to be making more content. It's actually time to grind. All right, now that January's over, I've realized that if I keep going like this, my year might not be the swaggiest. So I'm going to be doing my best to have the swaggiest year ever. Watch me absolutely just delete this kid. Oh no, you're bad. All right, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time with another video. Yeah. I definitely like Krabby Patty, SpongeBob. Spank my butt.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another week of Ryan's Rants. That's right, week number 6. We're gonna be having ourselves a fantastic episode. Hope you guys all had a great week. I know I did, and thank you all so much for the support on last week's episode. And without further ado, let's get rockin', let's get rollin'. So this week, I just wanted to make everyone have some visceral cringe with a story I found. I'm gonna warn you guys, this one hurts. If you don't want to cringe, I would just fast forward. I don't even know where the next clip's going to be because this is some next level hurt. Today I messed up by trapping a girl in a revolving door. Off rip, I'm not really sure how you do that. I thought the whole point of a revolving door is that they could stay moving. How you manage to break a revolving door and make it trap someone is beyond me. Yeah, I would say that would be considered a pretty big mess up. If you're a polite person, it's muscle memory to hold the door open for whoever's behind you. I was leaving my university's library through a revolving door, and I was reading something on my phone, and this gorgeous girl was behind me with a coffee in one hand and books in the other. Okay, so what? You just walked through the revolving door and she was behind you? There really is no way to hold a revolving door for somebody. I'm not really getting it. I also just don't like the way this person types, you know? No offense to you as a person, I'm sure you're cool or whatever, I don't know. But if you're a polite person, your muscle memory is to hold the door. What if I don't believe in holding doors, huh? What if I go out of my way to slam doors on people's faces, especially if they have their hands full? That's my right. I'm an American. I'm pretty sure the 87th Amendment says I have the right to slam the door on whoever I want. Someone in the comments right now is telling me that there isn't 87 amendments, and we're all aware of that, except for you. You typing. Stop it. As I exit into the open, without even realizing, I hold back my hand to stop the motion of the door, and she walked right into the glass, spilling coffee all over herself. Bro, I get it would be muscle memory, but come on, you're telling me that you pushed back on the motion of the revolving door hard enough where it completely stopped and she ran into it and spilled coffee all over herself? She's sitting there with like the coffee burns seeping through her clothing. Oh, it's so hot, it's so hot. He's standing there just like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? This seems like something straight up out of a sitcom. I'm sorry. Like, this is something that you would expect to happen when, like, the nerdy person in the show out of the group goes to college and accidentally does something like this. Do you think they're gonna put warning signs up in the library? Like, watch out for the guy who stops revolving doors, especially when people have hot drinks in their hands? Oh man, the secondhand embarrassment. What did the people around you think? Like, what are you gonna do if you're in the library and you see this go down? Maybe this makes me a horrible person, but I think I would have a hard time not laughing out loud. Just cause, like I said, it doesn't seem like it would be real. I would assume someone had a camera somewhere and they were filming, cause like, how is this reality? I can't blame you for posting this on Today I Messed Up, cause goodness gracious, bro, this is so secondhand cringe it sounds fake. But hey, obviously you turned around, you apologized, you helped her clean up, like, you know, you made the most of it, right? You went out of your way to help the person who you just made run into this glass door. I panicked and ran. I can never go back. Dude, she spills the coffee all over herself, looks up to try to see the person who stopped the door from spinning and just sees you running away. She 100% thinks you did it on purpose now. I hope you know that. Like, if I got coffee all over myself in this situation and I looked up and the person who just made me spill coffee all over myself was running, I would 100% assume that they were waiting there and did that on purpose. Am I wrong? Like, is that just paranoid of me? Nothing is more suspicious to me than someone just running away. Like, to me, that just seems like you probably had something to do with this on purpose. I'm not gonna lie, you can't go back. Like, they're going to have to put up signs. Everybody guard your hot drinks because some guy's running around knocking them out of people's hands. I get sometimes in awkward situations, you like just do things that you wouldn't do again in the moment. But oh my goodness, sprinting away. Oh man, that one hurts. That one hurts. I told you guys it was pretty viscerally cringe, but it's a little much. We gotta move on. Alright, so like literally my favorite game of all time is one of the games that just kind of got abandoned by the developers. Every now and then they'll release like a battle pass or an operation, but that's about it. I'm talking about CSGO. If you're really into CSGO, you know what I'm talking about. Like 128 tick servers still aren't here, Source 2 still isn't here. The game hasn't had really any major changes since I started playing it way back in the day, other than like some rank changes. But there's something going on with their social media, and I'm not gonna hold my breath. Chances are Valve just forgot they owned CSGO and are like, oh crap, yeah, we should tweet some stuff. I don't know if this is gonna mean any changes, but I really hope this leads to some updates, bro. That game needs some love. CSGO teases players with hidden messages. What does it mean? it probably means literally nothing. Like, I've gotten my hopes up enough time that something's going to change in this game where I'm not going to do it again. That being said, I really hope it means something. It's kind of like when you know something's very unlikely to happen, but you hope it happens. Like if you ever buy a lottery ticket, you obviously hope you win the lottery. You're not going to win the lottery, but you hope it happens. How depressing is that? I feel like this game gets so few updates and like such little attention from Valve that I'm equating it having a big update to winning the lottery. You know, the thing that's less likely than being struck by lightning twice. Oh yeah, that's just more likely than the game getting an update it deserves. As for the secret message, they changed their Twitter banner, and when you put it into Photoshop and like crank the exposure, it was a message that says just a banner, nothing to see here, which doesn't imply anything, but it is an update and at least something that they've done on the account, and as soon as people found out, they changed it back, which maybe signifies that they're at least trying to start some engagement, maybe get people talking, paying attention again so they can announce an update, hopefully, fingers crossed, unlikely. Since the discovery of the picture I was talking about, the CSGO Twitter has updated the banner to simply read as Counter-Strike with blue and orange colors. Other CSGO fans did some digging and noticed that back in June, CSGO's social media channels used similar language regarding a recent blog post. As of now, it's hard to tell if this is all an elaborate joke or something to be monitored for a larger announcement. It's possible CSGO could be rebranding to Counter-Strike or a full shift over to Source 2. So if you're not a huge Counter-Strike fan, Source 2 is an updated engine that people have kind of been talking about of like, one day they're going to add Source 2, one day they're going to add Source 2. It would just modernize the gameplay, make it look a lot better. I really hope that they do that. That would be sick. I'm going to be honest, I had very high hopes when Valorant came out that like, alright, now they're going to have to start updating CSGO. They lost so many players to Valorant from CSGO. There were pro players that had been playing Counter-Strike since they were like in 5th grade, switching over to Valorant because it had more updates and more money to be a pro player over there. And man, if that didn't light a fire under Valve's butt to actually start paying attention to the game and changing it, then I don't know what will. I think Valve is just in a situation where they make so much money off Steam, there really isn't as much money by comparison to like having a game that's doing well. They get a cut of all the Steam Market transactions. I'm pretty sure they get a cut of all the games that get bought. Like, come on, they're making money hand over fist. Even if they spent a bunch of money on CSGO, I don't know what it would do. And if you look at some of the other games they own, look at how long it's taken them to fix Team Fortress 2. That's what is making me extremely skeptical too, is like the other games that they have, they don't really love to go out and fix either. So I don't know, I'm not getting my hopes up. It's interesting they're at least trying to use the social media account again. I think it would be cool if they got it running again, especially because when that game was popping back in like 2016, 2017, I know they make a lot of money already, but the skins and market transactions alone was probably a solid chunk of income. So I hope CSGO can have a comeback. I'm doubtful, but I just thought a little update would be cool because, you know. For some reason, a lot of people on this channel like video games. Okay, this story I just thought was hilarious, bro. So, the mullet's been having a comeback. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. On one hand, I think retro stuff is pretty cool. On the other hand, we have to be honest with ourselves and understand that the mullet is not a very good haircut. But I don't think most of them are offensive. I didn't realize that people were like actually out here being so angry over the mullet they wanted them banned. But for one person, their mullet was deemed so offensive their school banned them. John Paul College student banned from school grounds because of unsuitable mullet haircut. Goodness gracious, man, this mullet really pissed off somebody in the office. They were like, I will not stand for there being mullets in my school. This ridiculousness will end now. It's even nuttier because it's a college. I don't know if this is the same as the States, but are they paying for this? If they're paying tuition and he's getting kicked out because of his mullet, that's absolutely absurd. Even if they're not paying tuition, if it's a public school, it's still stupid. A mullet? Really? Like, who really cares? I mean, I'm not saying it's fantastic, but is it going to interrupt the school day at all? I've never understood that argument. Oh, if someone has blue hair, no one's gonna learn. It's like, what? How are these two dots connected? That's like someone hopping in their car and being like, yep, This baby's not a hybrid, but I still plug it in every night. You're like, okay, all right, this makes no sense. Patrina Wilson is maintaining the rage as her son faces a 4th week barred from the grounds of John Paul College because he is in a contravention of the school's policy relating to hairstyles. Miss Wilson told the paper her son had been denied entry to the school for the past 3 weeks because of his hairstyle. A mullet and shaved head was deemed unsuitable under its college uniform and personnel appearance expectations policy. The policy adds shaved hair, fads, and extreme haircuts are unsuitable for school. Shaved hair is unsuitable for school? Sorry, Baldy, get out of here. We don't care that you started balding at the age of 15. You can't go to school here, moron. I just don't get this rule. I feel like this is one of those rules from like 37 years ago that doesn't make that much sense anymore. Okay, if we start letting people have weird haircuts, what's next? They're gonna stop doing their homework, huh? And they're like, what are you doing, man? Like, how are any of these dots connected? Maybe I'm stupid, but in my opinion, I feel like as long as the work gets done and it's done effectively, I don't really care what type of haircut people have. And before someone in the comments is like, this is preparing them for the real world, you can't have a silly haircut in the real world, it's like, dude, I don't know if you know this, but the real world has gotten increasingly nuts too. I feel like, yeah, maybe a shaved head mullet combo is a little much, but most places will probably let you have a pretty out there haircut now. Maybe I'm wrong, but at least where I live, like, I see people with crazy hair all the time, so they gotta be doing something. I don't know, they had to pay for the haircut somehow. I guess theoretically they could have just stolen hair dye. But you get what I mean. It's just kind of a weird situation to be so up in arms about this, especially for that long, a month. A month? You kick this kid out of school for a month, he's gonna fall behind all of his peers, fail his yearly exam, dude gonna have to retake the entire year of school. Well, that's the lesson that you have to learn about the haircut policy. Like, this is just gonna make this kid hate school forever. You know that, right? Like, from now on, he's gonna be like, ugh, I hate school. And tell everyone the story of how he got kicked out of school for like a month and a half over a mullet. And what's dumb is I guess this guy's on the football team and they won some championship thing. And to celebrate, the entire team like gave each other weird haircuts. And everyone else has been allowed to come back to school with their weird haircuts, except for him. This guy's gotta have the worst mullet of all time. Imagine having a mullet so bad that they're looking at it and they're like, all right, everyone else can come back to school. Their haircuts aren't that bad. But that guy's haircut is the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. I don't know where he came from, but tell him he can't come back until that's off the back of his head. I think this entire thing is stupid. I think he should just be allowed to come to school, especially if everybody else has. I just thought this was nuts, that apparently you can have a haircut so bad you're expelled from school. I love French fries. I love ketchup. It's a fact that French fries and ketchup is an American tradition. We should just rename them to like America fries because the French would not love some fried potato and ketchup. But anyways, I digress. If you love fresh ketchup, on the freeway in California, some dude crashed his tomato truck and then a bunch of cars ran over the tomatoes. And then they had to close the freeway because there was so much fresh ketchup. People were lining up for miles to try to dip some fries in it. Officer, I drove all the way from Los Angeles. Can I please try the street ketchup, please? A tomato spill makes a major California highway a marinara mess. I'm not saying marinara is not good, I just think ketchup is much better. If I had to list all the tomato-based sauces in like order of dipping, I would say marinara is for sure top 5, probably still top 3, but ketchup is my number 1 personally. Anyways, imagine you're just cruising down the road doing your thing. You're on your way to your favorite concert, you know, Nickelback's in town, you're gonna go get your rock star on. As you're on your way there, you see a truck next to you. I wonder what that truck has in the back. You think to yourself, wha-bam, it flips over. All over the road. Red gold, baby. Tomatoes come spilling out. They start splattering. No, you exclaim, not the tomatoes. You run into traffic yourself. Cars swerving around you, trying to scoop up as many tomatoes as you can, saving the day. The farmer tells you, just leave 'em, just leave 'em. But little does he know that you love tomatoes. Anyways, bro, I just think it would be nuts to see all of this go down. Anytime something crashes and spills a bunch of something over the road, I think it's a funny story. I don't know why. It just makes my funny receptor tingle in brain. when everyone's okay. Like, I don't want anyone to get it twisted. It's not funny that someone crashed the car. Like, obviously, I hope he's okay. I hope there was some way for him to get compensated for, like, everything that was ruined. But the idea of a major freeway, humans have come so far that we've made freeways that go through states, through countries. And every now and then, tomato get on road, and everyone's like, oh no, tomato on road, no one can drive. Some California drivers got a saucy surprise in their Monday morning commute after a truck hit the center divider on I-80 between San Francisco and Sacramento, slathering several lanes and quickly crushed tomatoes. Sacramento's KTVU-TV news reported that the accident, which happened around 5 a.m. local time near Vacaville, caused heavy traffic but no injuries, and it took hours for the State Department of Transportation to clean up and reopen all the lanes of the highway patrol said. The people who work for like the highway department, that they were saying it took them hours to clean this up, like that has to be something that no one would believe. Oh, what do you do for work? Oh, I work for the highway department. That's awesome. Anything cool ever happen? Yeah, one time I had to get a mop and mop up 6 lanes of traffic worth of crushed tomatoes. I guess that was pretty entertaining, and the person's like, dude, you could have just said nothing entertaining happens. You didn't have to make something up. No, I'm being serious. I really love cleaning up tomatoes. It's a passion of mine. When I was a young man, I used to go around, throw tomatoes on the floor, and then clean them up because it made me feel useful in the world. The fact that I get to clean up tomatoes off the highway is the greatest joy I have in my life. My wife and my kids are cool, sure, but I think the best day of my life is when I got hired to the tomato division. I think having a family is pretty second rate compared to getting tomatoes up. You know what I mean? Yeah, you probably get it. You seem like you're a tomato type of guy, and you're just standing there like, whoa, all right, man, too much information. I know this story means literally nothing. I'm glad no one was injured. I know a lot of you guys are like, Ryan, please stop talking about the tomatoes. So I will end it. But if you're out there driving in California, watch out. Get ready to dodge some tomatoes. All right, you guys know I had to talk about Overwatch 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Not Overwatch 2, the original one. Not my favorite, but I put a lot of time into the original, and I wanted to really love this too. I feel like this and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 were the 2 games that I wanted to be really good, and it seems like both times I was dramatically disappointed. And don't get it twisted, I'm not trying to say that Overwatch 2 is the worst game of all time. I'm not even trying to say that it's bad, but here's the thing. I think they announced this like years ago, and for a sequel that's supposed to revolutionize everything, change the game, just bring a bunch of players back, it feels like the exact same game with a big update. Like if someone just told me that this was the new season of Overwatch and they changed stuff, I would probably believe you. And listen, I'm fine with that. I don't think they needed to try to reinvent the wheel, but they kinda hyped it up like they were reinventing the wheel, which is why I expected a little bit more than like what is different. And I'm not saying I'm never going to play the game. I liked Overwatch still. Was it as poppin' as it was when it first came out? Was it as fun as it was? No, but I would still play it from time to time. But I think the way they hyped this up is just like a revolutionary change to Overwatch. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to be so addicted to this. It's just not that different. And even gameplay and just like everything else aside, the launch has not been that smooth, which is not surprising because we're talking about video games in 2022. Every launch is about as broken as a window after you throw a baseball through it. There's just no launches that seem to go as smooth as you want. But the day the game came out, it would have been sweet if I could really play it. I ended up playing like 3 games of Overwatch 2 the first day it came out because servers were just so broken that you could not get into the game. In fact, I was having trouble getting into the queue to get into the game. You know, waiting in line to get in line when a game comes out is just exactly what you want to do. And I'm still getting queues to get into the game. And I know someone in the comments is going to be like, oh, the player numbers, there's just so many people playing. What did they expect was going to happen when they released Overwatch 2? You're telling me that Blizzard, out of all these game companies, doesn't have the money or the capability to make servers that can handle the launch? We all know that's not true, bro. Like, come on. I think it's gonna get rid of a lot of new players that the servers were so bad and have been so bad because they made it free to play, right? Like, oh, okay, let's get a bunch of people in on it. Let's get a bunch of people streaming it. Like let's get it poppin'. You know what's really not good for a game that you've never played before and want to try out? Not being able to get into the servers. I was willing to wait all day to get into the servers. I just like had it open in the background while I was working. But if you're somebody that only has 2-3 hours to play video games, maybe an hour, and you can't get into servers for 40 minutes, are you going to come back and try that game again, or are you probably just going to toss that into the won't play again pile? You know, we all have that like neglected game list of stuff that we got but never really got crazy into. I feel like this game is probably going to get tossed in there for a lot of people that never played any Overwatch 1 just because of how weird the launch has been. And on top of that, too, all right, I'm gonna keep complaining here. I don't think the loot box system was fantastic. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't think anything where you can buy it to like have a chance to unlock skins is fantastic. But you know what I dislike a lot more? Way more? But then they turn around and make every legendary skin like, what, $10, $15, $20? I'm not sure the exact price, but I have to pay real money for it now, and there's no chance to just kind of unlock it through playing the game. Actually, I take that back. There is a way to unlock it, but this is adding insult to injury. Y'all will laugh when I say this. So you can earn in-game currency through playing. That makes sense. You want to motivate your players to come back every day consistently. So you can earn 60 Overwatch coins a week through these like weekly challenge things. So you're probably thinking to yourself, all right, so you can get a legendary skin once a month. Nope, it would take 33 weeks if you save up doing all the weekly challenges to buy one skin, one legendary skin. There's a lot of heroes in the game, so I don't know, it doesn't seem that worth it to me. Even if you did all your weekly challenges, it'd take you over half a year to get to the point where you have one legendary skin. That's a big oof. And they're framing it as like, yeah, we got rid of loot boxes. It was probably cheaper to buy loot boxes until I got everything than this whole having to pay real money for each individual skin and item. Plus, I still got currency out of the loot boxes, and I got the loot boxes from playing the game, leveling up, you know, doing the like arcade challenges. In this one, you want to get a skin, bust out the credit card, or buy the battle pass. I just don't get why they couldn't have done both. Like, couldn't you have a battle pass, loot boxes, and the ability to buy the skin? Obviously, money. Like, we all know why they did it the way that they did it. It's a money thing. But I don't necessarily love that either, because it also makes the grind feel a lot less rewarding when you're not like getting something every time you win a game, you know? I'm not saying I need a loot box to keep playing, but yeah, it felt good when you leveled up and you got a loot box, and most of the time you got nothing, but opening it was still fun. And then one last gripe. So there's 3 different classes in the game. You got support, you have like damage, and then you have tanks. There used to be 2 of each on a team. There would be 6 players. They got rid of a tank, which, you know, is fine. It makes the game feel a little bit different, but whatever. It's like a big update. Like I said, imagine if they just took tanks out of the game to see what it felt like. But the queue times for DPS and support are like 2 minutes to get into a game. Because there's only one tank, it's just kind of built this backlog, and I've seen it get as high as like 10, 12 minutes. Which is nuts considering how new this game is, so I don't know how they're gonna fix that, but they probably gotta figure that out because you don't want a situation where no one plays tank because they don't want to sit for 15 minutes in the queue before the game starts. Especially after you've already had to sit in line for 20 minutes to get into the game in the first place. They really just have been making it hard to find this game enjoyable, man. And don't get it twisted, I'm still gonna support it. Like, you're probably going to see gameplay of it. I'm gonna give it time to get better. But so far, I can't say I'm like dramatically impressed. It's not awful. I know that sounds stupid considering how much I just complained about it. Like, if you like Overwatch and you really want to give it a try if you've never tried it before, then go for it. But just considering how much it was hyped up and they said that it's going to be like revolutionary, it's going to be the most insane thing we've ever seen, guys, trust us. It's not that. It is simply not that. Plus, I don't have Jeff Kaplan here anymore to say it's Jeff from the Overwatch team, so my heart is a little bit broken. But yeah, that's Overwatch 2. I don't know if you guys like these kind of game review things that I've been doing whenever something comes out that I've been excited for, but if you like these in the podcast, if you could comment, I would appreciate it. But they need to fix servers first and foremost. That is number one. All the other stuff can be patched slowly and fixed little by little, but if people can't play the game, yeah, that's a big deal. People tend to not be fans of downloading something and not being able to access it. At least they didn't pay for it anymore. You know, most launches today are broken and you gave them money for the game. At least Overwatch 2, the launch has been broken, but it was free. But yeah, alright, let's get out of here.
This is Jeff with the Overwatch team, back with another video.
Alright, and of course, y'all know that it's a weekly tradition that we talk about the Russia-Ukraine war here on the podcast. Ukraine had another insane offensive. I know the last 3 weeks I've been talking about insane offensives, but that's because every time I wake up and check the news, it's like, oh yeah, they took more territory. Russia's drafting has been going even worse than we talked about last week. A bunch of people are literally being handed rusty AKs. It's not looking too hot. Even then, they're still sending these people to the front lines incredibly quickly. 2 weeks ago, they started announcing the draft. You think maybe at least a month of training? No, they're already finding people on the front lines that got drafted a week ago. They're just getting sent straight into the microwave. But let's talk about it. Ukraine takes swaths of territory despite Russia's mobilization. In the 32nd week of the war, advances in the east and south show Kyiv is maintaining its counteroffensive momentum while Moscow is pulling back forces from Crimea. Yeah, things aren't going too hot. This is especially nutty when you think about the fact that Vladimir Putin framed this all as a special military operation. Everyone thought, myself included, that he was going to march into Kyiv and take it in 2 days. Kiev, whatever, sorry, I'm American, I'm not good at pronunciations. And here he is 32 weeks later having to do a full mobilization, losing support at home. People don't like being drafted, believe it or not, especially when they go to get equipment and they're like, hey, there is none. By the way, you don't get training. Good luck on the front lines. Russia has never really been that great at military strategy, at least from what we've seen in history. They've always just used the human wave model. I just think that doesn't really work in modern warfare. When you have equipment, that means that a well-trained platoon of 50 guys can theoretically be more efficient than just 1,000 dudes that don't know what they're doing. Not in terms of literal combat. 1,000 dudes standing around that don't know how to run an artillery gun, though, is pretty useless to you. Overall, it seems like Ukraine just keeps getting momentum on its side, but what's scary about that is Russia does not like the embarrassment it's being put through, so I hope they don't press the big red button. Russia's mobilization of 200,000 conscripts seems to have had no impact during the 32nd week of the war, as Ukrainian forces recapture more territory in the east and south of the country. On September 30th, Ukrainian forces advancing from Izium surrounded Lyman in the eastern Donetsk region and recaptured the town the following day. The spectacular encirclement of the strategic town and expanse of surrounding territory trapped Russian personnel trying to flee. So this situation was especially embarrassing. Last Friday, basically Putin did this huge fake election thing in the regions that they were occupying, saying that they were going to get to choose if they want to be a part of Russia. And unsurprisingly, over 90% of the vote ended up being magically for Russia. It's weird, when a bunch of people have fled their home because it's in a war zone, there's dramatically less people to vote. And literally there was footage of the lady reading the ballots and saying that they were for Russia when they were blank. If you zoom in, there's nothing on them. It was a sham election, but anyways, they do this sham election. Putin does this huge speech saying that that is now Russian territory. They will defend it with all means necessary. This is now Russia. It will forever be Russia. And 2 days later, they lost most of the territory that they had just said that they were annexing, which does not make them look good, bro. You can't come out and give a speech about how this is going to be Russia forever and always, and you'll use all your military might to defend it and then lose it a day later. I think that is why, though, people are starting to get a lot more nervous about the nuclear thing, is Putin's always been no, I'm super tough. I'm a big tough guy. Well, big tough guys went backed into a corner and being absolutely styled on by a military that was supposed to be 1/18 their strength. tend to do stupid things, you know? I don't even know why he started the war in the first place, but whatever it is, it's not going too hot, and he doesn't seem like the type of guy that's just gonna calm down and say, whatever, I made a mistake, I'll calmly step down from being president of Russia and hand over the power. That's not gonna happen, and I think if he just, admits defeat, then the Russian people are gonna be very, very unhappy. They've been cut off from the rest of the world for literally nothing if they admit defeat. Biden says risk of nuclear Armageddon highest in 60 years. U.S. president compares threat now with the Cuban Missile Crisis, which brought the world to brink of catastrophe in 1962. Just what you love to hear on an early weekend morning. You know, everyone thinks that we're getting closer and closer to nuclear annihilation. I think nuclear war is a very bad idea. I don't think there's really any way it stays contained. One, nuclear fallout is going to spread. Ukraine is close to Europe. If anything gets used, it's going to affect them, like it or not. Two, if you start doing the tit-for-tat thing, very quickly it ends up in global thermonuclear war. There's not many instances where they launch a nuke, we launch one back, and then everyone just stands there and looks at each other and wags their fingers and says, okay, let's stop it now. No, if it pops off, it's popping off, and that's not going to be fun for literally anybody involved. I think the worst part about all of this is the fact that, Russia really does not have many checks and balances in place when it comes to any of this. If the United States wanted to do something, we could have a crazy person in charge, but there's still people along the chain that have to sign off, give the code, press the button. In Russia, I don't know if that is necessarily as there, maybe back in the day under the USSR, but I don't think people say no to Putin. In fact, if anything, Putin probably sleeps with an iPad next to him with the codes on it ready to go just because it makes him feel more powerful. Especially after how much he's been getting his butt kicked in Ukraine, you know, he probably just sits there and looks at the button and is like, they don't know that I can press the button. I could press it. I could be the guy to press the button. And everyone's like, Vladimir, please don't. And he's like, but I could. And he, referring to Biden, challenged the Russian nuclear doctrine, warning that the use of lower-yield tactical weapons could quickly spiral out of control. I don't think there's any such thing as the ability to easily use a tactical weapon and not end up with Armageddon. We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, the Cuban Missile Crisis was not a very good vibe. I think one of the main generals that was involved in it had literally said that we were steps away from nuclear war and we're just really lucky that everybody involved was thinking rationally. And when you look at everything that's gone down with Russia and Ukraine, I don't think thinking rationally comes to the forefront of my mind. I don't think we're gonna have nuclear Armageddon, but living in a time where it's back on the menu as a possibility is not exactly reassuring. I'm not going to spend my life sweating about it though and stressing about it, and I don't think you guys should either. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. You guys get what I'm trying to say, because there's nothing we can do about it. Nuclear weapons are out of the average person's control, and I don't think the average person would be very supportive. And if for whatever reason it does happen, then there's really no reason to be worried, because we're all just going to be, I don't know, living the new Fallout life, walking around trying to find some Nuka-Cola. Either way, that's going to be it for the Russia update this week. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I got more stories, though, so don't leave. But thanks for watching the Russia part. All right, now this one is just straight up stupid. I don't really cover a whole lot of true crime stuff, and that's the first place I saw this story was the true crime thing. But the more that comes out, the more I think it becomes a dumb criminal situation. There was this lady that got kidnapped, I'm doing air quotes, and obviously the United States doesn't like people being kidnapped, so they started a frantic manhunt. She had kids, her husband was on TV being like, I want my wife to come home. Come to find out, she had just faked her kidnapping to get back with her ex-boyfriend. Nothing says true love like faking a kidnapping and leaving your kids to get back with your ex. She faked her kidnapping to go back to her ex. Now she'll get 18 months in prison. I don't know what this lady was going through, alright, but I feel like leaving your husband and your kids to go back to your ex is already messed up, but it is less messed up than faking being kidnapped and just convincing your former family that, you got yeeted into oblivion and they've always got to wonder what happened. If you don't want to be with the guy you have kids with anymore, then, I don't know, you can just not be with him. Sure, it would make things awkward, but I feel like faking your kidnapping is way more complicated than just ending things. If you're unhappy enough to start faking your kidnapping and faking your death, it's time to go, dude. When you go this far, though, yeah, you deserve some time in jail. Think about all the stuff you put your family through, but also all the wasted resources. The FBI was out looking for this lady that got apparently kidnapped when come to find out she's just hanging out with her boyfriend. How much money do you think they wasted on stuff just trying to find her? Like if they had helicopters out looking, all the fuel, all the time that they could have been searching for somebody else. Imagine being somebody else that went missing when all this was going down and all the resources were being focused on this case. Meanwhile, you're like in the trunk of a car. It'll be okay. They'll come looking. A Northern California mother of two was sentenced Monday to 18 months in prison for faking her kidnapping so she could go back to a former boyfriend, which led to a 3-week multi-state search before she resurfaced on Thanksgiving Day in 2016. Sherry Papini, 40, pled guilty last spring to staging the abduction and lying to the FBI about it. As part of a plea bargain, she's required to pay more than $300,000 in restitution. I don't get why you would fake your kidnapping. I don't get why you would think it's a good idea to fake something like that, but I especially don't understand why you would try to keep the lie going when it's gotten so out of control and the FBI is involved. Like, once the FBI has apparently rescued you from your kidnapper and they start asking you questions, it's probably time to just come clean. Because, yeah, the second you start lying to the FBI, they're going to look into it, and they don't like when you try to make them look stupid. I also love that she just came back home, you know, all this time spent practicing for her fake kidnapping, setting up to go to her boyfriend. For 3 weeks, dude, just coming back home thinking everything was going to be back to normal. Your husband, your kids, everything was just going to be like, oh, wow, so glad you're back. We're not going to ask any questions about what happened. No one in your community was going to ask any follow-up questions. The guy that you left and faked this huge kidnapping to be with is never going to talk. I'm sure when they start looking into where you were and they see that you were with him, they're going to show up to his house and be like, hey, why did you kidnap this lady? And I don't think he's going to have your back. He's probably very quickly going to sell you out and be like, she came to my house completely willingly. There was no kidnapping involved. I just thought she was coming to hang out. I didn't even realize she was telling people she was kidnapped. That took me for a loop, to say the least. I was not expecting that. Probation officers and Papini's attorney had recommended that she spend a month in custody and 7 months in supervised home detention, while prosecutors wanted her to serve the 8 months behind bars. But senior U.S. Judge William Stubbs, said that he opted for an 18-month sentence in order to deter others. The judge said he considered the seriousness of the offense and the sheer number of people who were impacted. It included law enforcement officers who searched for her, the community that believed her for 4 years, those who lived in fear because of her story being abducted by 2 Hispanic women, and the Latino community that was falsely viewed with suspicion. 4 years? 4 years she kept this up? I'm not too familiar with this. I don't know why everything started unraveling, but like, she probably thought she had gotten away with it too. Oh yeah, 4 years ago I faked my kidnapping. I don't know what happened, but given the way 2022 has been going, I wouldn't be surprised if she made a TikTok about how she faked her kidnapping and it went viral. Everyone started realizing, wait a second, you faked your kidnapping? That's kind of bizarre. I just feel like this entire story could have been prevented with a little bit of follow through and thinking through what was going to happen. All right, I'm going to go missing. I'm going to convince my caring family that loves me that I've been kidnapped. They are going to do nothing and just let me be gone? Of course they're going to call the cops. Of course it's not normal for a mother of 2 to just go missing and abandon her kids. No one would think that was what was going on here. Obviously, they were going to assume there was some foul play involved. At least from what I've seen, most people aren't out there abandoning their kids willy-nilly. Now that she's back, that's got to be a really awkward relationship with the kids that she was supposed to be with, you know? Hey kids, what's up? Mom, we don't really want to talk to you. Ever since you faked being kidnapped to get away from us because you find us boring, we just haven't really felt that same level of support. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but still, I'd be pissed if I was a little kid and my mom faked being kidnapped and was gone for a while. Tries to come back all, what's up guys? I'd be like, no, we don't mess with the fake kidnapping, all right? Papini has never given a rational explanation for her behavior, which included months of careful planning before she disappeared and temporarily abandoned her children who are most precious to her, Portanova said. Her actions stumped even independent mental health experts who said they didn't conform with typical diagnoses. Portanova blamed it on what sounded like a fear storm that was going on for a long time inside her head, but she is now a changed woman. Well, I hope she's changed if this is all that happened. Like, if you fake being kidnapped once, it's already nuts. But if you go through everything, get 18 months in prison, become like the pariah of your town because everyone realizes you faked your kidnapping, hopefully you look around and go, all right, something's gotta change. I would be way more concerned if they were more like, I don't know why everyone's so upset. My acting was so impeccable, I had the FBI fooled for 4 years. Yeah, they're probably feeling sorry now. Oh man, how embarrassing. Months of careful planning. So for months, every day, you were thinking about faking being kidnapped. And at no point did the thought of, hey, this is a really stupid idea, I shouldn't do this, pop into your head. That's what I don't understand about stuff that's very well, like, planned out. If it's just spur of the moment or whatever, it's still moronic, but at least you didn't think it through. You put months of planning into a really stupid idea, and it's just worse because it's like, man, you really put a lot of thought and effort into this thing that makes no sense, and still did it. How much brain power did you have to put in this, not realizing it was a good idea? Because it's apparent to everyone. I feel like 99% of people listening to this right now would have been able to predict that if you fake a kidnapping, the authorities will get involved and they will find out, and they're not going to be very thrilled with you. I don't think like the FBI was ever going to find out you faked a kidnapping and you were going to put up your arms and go, oopsies, and they were going to be like, oh, Sherry. And the last clip for this week isn't something that's like bad. I'm glad he's okay more than anything. More just like, what was he doing and how did he actually have the human strength to do it? You ever seen a semi-truck going down the road and been like, hey, I should jump onto the back and hang on? Yeah, me neither. I've never thought it was a good idea, but one guy apparently jumped onto the back of a truck and managed to hang on for over 100 miles. That is some superhuman levels of dedication to like actually hop onto a truck and stay there for over 100 miles. Sounds like something he would do. Wichita man arrested for public intoxication after hanging on the back of a semi for over 100 miles. That's an incredibly long time to be hanging onto the back of a semi. What do you think he was thinking while he's on the back of this truck? I also love how they got him for public intoxication. 100 miles takes what, maybe 2 hours to drive unless you're going real quick? Semis can't go insanely fast, so let's say it took an hour and a half, if they were going quickly. He was so intoxicated when he hopped onto the back of the truck that he wasn't sobered up when they arrested him for public intoxication. Goodness gracious, all right? I'm not trying to say it's a good thing to be that intoxicated. However, the fact he was that intoxicated but still had the grip strength to hop onto the back of a semi-truck and hang on for 100 miles. Imagine what this man would be able to do if he was sober. He probably has the grip strength to like walk up to a bank vault, grab the thing that spins, and just rip the entire door off. Are you kidding me, man? He literally is so intoxicated he doesn't sober up at all in an hour while hanging onto the back of a semi. Once you're on, I guess, what are you gonna do to get off? If you're on the freeway and there's no red lights or anything, yeah, you just kind of gotta hang on and hope for the best. Unless you're brave enough to do a tuck and roll off a semi-truck, which I'm not, especially going freeway speeds. Freeway freeds? I don't know what I was trying to say there, dude. Just bear with me. Either way, the guy is just an absolute legend, intoxicated or not. I'm not saying it's good to be that intoxicated, but you're telling me you're not at least slightly curious if he has any type of mutant powers now? It's so bizarre, said Trooper Eric Foster with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. That's something you don't often hear from a first responder, but what happened Monday evening would have had those who've pretty much seen it all scratching their heads. The person called and said there appears to be a man on the back of this truck. It all started in Wichita when investigators say 30-year-old Dustin Slocum hopped onto the back rail of a semi-truck as it was leaving a shipping yard, and he held on for 130 miles. Nearly 2 hours, and ended up in Guthrie, Oklahoma at around 2:30 in the morning. You know, back in the day when people would like throw their belongings in the train car and hop up, that's basically what he did the modern equivalent of, just waiting at the shipping yard, hopping on the back of a semi-truck. Do you follow the truck if you're the person who called this in, or do you just like not want to see what happens and you've reported it so it's not your problem? I don't know. And also, did the police come out and like follow the truck while he's on the back? Was he waving at them, doing hand signals or something? I'm just saying, that's an incredibly long time to be on the back of a semi-truck. 2 hours? Goodness gracious, I hope he had an iPad or something, just standing there thinking to himself, man, this would be so much worse if I didn't have cut the rope on this iPad. Am I right, guys? What an absolute classic. Whose jurisdiction is this? Is it the place he hopped on the truck? Or does, like, the place where he ended up take jurisdiction? I'm assuming it's the place he ended up. Does the truck driver have any say in it? What if the truck driver's just like, nah, it's cool, I'm not worried about it. And they're like, dude, he was on the back of your truck for a really long time. Yeah, whatever, I just don't really care. And they're like, are you sure? Like, we really want to do something. Yeah, don't worry about it, I don't care. All right, if you say so. They just have to leave. Dustin ends up 130 miles from home. Guys, how do I get home? How do I get back from here? I don't know, maybe you should have thought about that before you hopped on the semi-truck, young man. Not that 30's insanely young. 30 is a little bit too old to be jumping on the back of a truck and riding it for 2 hours. Like, not that there's any age I would expect it, but this seems very drunk college kid to me. This is a drunk college kid move. When I heard somebody took a crazy ride, I'm thinking, yeah, that's him. That's the kind of stuff he would do, said Shane King. King has known him for a decade and is a former landlord, and he has said nothing but trouble as a tenant. Kansas Department of Correction records also showed that he served time for aggravated battery. In this case, police arrested him for public intoxication and joyriding, both misdemeanor charges to which he pleaded not guilty. I mean, listen, man, I'm not saying you're guilty because you've pled not guilty, you haven't been convicted in a court of law, but intoxication explains how you think this is a good idea. And if you were on the back of his truck for 2 hours, it kind of is joyriding. I don't know what else you would call it. Is that the charge for being a stowaway? Like, what else would you really call it, man? I'm not even going to get into anything else. I'm not surprised he has a record. It just seems like something that someone that would do this would have. Not in a bad way. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's a factual statement. He's lucky he didn't get hurt, though. Being intoxicated on the back of a semi-truck for hours is pretty dangerous. Like, it's nuts he was able to hang on. I still gotta give him that. That's some insane grip strength, bro. Are you kidding me? This guy doesn't even need a can opener. He just grabs the top of the lid and rips that baby off. I bet you this guy has the grip strength of, like, I don't know, an NFL wide receiver, dude. He probably goes to catch a football and accidentally pops it. He held onto a semi-truck while a little tipsy for 2 hours. I'm not saying you should do that. It's a bad idea, but like that's some grip strength, ladies and gents. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a little bit shorter. I'm going to try to get back on the longer episodes next week. I've just got some stuff I got to go out of town for a couple days. So, I couldn't really finish the entire thing. I'm back in town when you guys are watching this right now. But when I was recording it, I was out of town. And that's the magic of editing. But thank you all so much. Press the like button if you enjoyed. I would really, really appreciate it. And, yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.
What's croppin', farmers, and what's poppin', boys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your douchey rich cousin will find a way to ruin your day like he did to me yesterday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pass the vibe check. Anyways, guys, what's going on? A couple months ago, I told a story about how my douchey rich cousin basically ruined Christmas, and that's still valid for sure. He's just on a streak this year of just ruining holidays, I guess, because yesterday he somehow managed to ruin my Easter even though I wasn't even with the dude. I'm supposed to be quarantined away from everybody, and he still managed to find a way to ruin a holiday, so good for him, man. He's really on a streak. Regardless, though, my cousin is from a douchey rich family. He's never been told no in his life. He has a massive problem hearing anything other than yes. Like, one time, our other little cousins got iPods and he ended up stealing from them on Christmas. He's just not a very good person. And because his parents have never told him no, his sense of entitlement has never gone anywhere. And he's like around the same age I am. He's a whole adult now. And being a spoiled brat stops being cute after, like, I don't know, when you learn how to talk, once you can learn how to talk and can say stupid stuff, being a spoiled brat is not cute. And he's gone well past that stage, all right? Everything out of his mouth might sound terrible, but he's still talking. And usually on Easter, we get together with the extended family at my grandma's house, and she does this really cool Easter egg hunt where all the little cousins get to run around and get candy, and it's a good time. And usually she gives the older kids some money. It's like not a lot usually. I think last year she gave every kid over the age of 14 like $10, but it's super sweet and my grandma has a big heart. It's not any reason anybody goes to Easter. Like nobody's ever super hyped to wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. and go to grandma's for $10, but it makes her feel better to give it to us and the family has a great time and it like, you know, it's just something that happens at Easter. Except this year, my grandma, who's an old lady, really can't be around people because this coronavirus is going around the planet taking out boomers like a Clorox wet wipe. So I do live near my grandma that I usually spend Easter with. She's like 2 blocks away. I haven't seen her in a few weeks. I did teach her how to FaceTime a little bit so I can like check up on her, but I haven't wanted to go see her because I've been sick and the last thing I want to do is be responsible for giving grandma corona, right? I didn't know what I had, so better not risk it. You don't want to be the dude at the funeral who's like, okay, I might have accidentally been responsible here, but let's just bond. It's not going to work out very well. But regardless, I kind of live near her, and I get a call at like 1 p.m. yesterday, and it's my grandma. And I answer it. I'm like, hey. And she says, hi, will you come here? Your cousin's here, and he won't leave. He says that I owe him his Easter money, but I don't have any, and he won't leave. He's standing at the door. He's trying to get in. Like, he's in the backyard now checking all the windows. Can you come get him to leave? And I was in like the middle of a nap, so I sleepily respond like, wait, sure. So I go over to my grandma's house not really knowing what to expect to find. It's not every day you get woken up from a nap from your grandma in quarantine saying that your cousin is trying to break into the house for $10. But hey, I had nothing else going on Easter, and it's supposed to be about family or whatever, so I guess I gotta go stop a grandma break-in because some people just never learn not to rob your grandma, I guess. I didn't realize that was a life lesson that my cousin needed to learn. So I like walk down there. Like I said, it's like 2 blocks. I get over there, and sure enough, my cousin is banging on the door saying, let me in, I want to see you. And I walk up, I'm like, dude, what is going on? And he basically says, oh, hey, Ryan, you know how we usually get money for Easter? And I'm like, yeah. And he says, well, since no one's coming over for Easter, I just figured that she would give me what everybody normally gets. And I'm like, what makes you think that? Easter is canceled, so you get everyone's money? That's just the default? And he's like, yeah, but now she won't let me in to get it. She says she doesn't have the money, but I know she has it in there. So I guess I can understand the confusion, but I tell him, look, you're scaring grandma. Can you please relax and not try to break into her house? And he's like, well, you know, it is my God-given right to get that Easter money. I'm like, yeah, not really. That's not how Easter money works. Most people don't get any Easter money. In fact, most people, once they get too old to look for Easter eggs, don't get anything. So how about you chill? And he's like, well, I mean, you usually get it too. I'm willing to split it with you. As if, you know, he's just going to blackmail me. All of a sudden, I'm going to come up and be like, whoa, 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 you're going to split this money with me? In that case, and like pull out a crowbar and start trying to break into my grandma's house. Shockingly, I don't need the $10 that my grandma gives me for Easter, like badly enough to break into her house. Is it nice? Sure. Will it pay for Taco Bell? Sure. Am I going to terrify my grandmother by making her think her home's being invaded? Nah. All right, that might be where I'm drawing the line personally, but I guess that's just my personal morals, and the rest of my family doesn't care at all because when I said no, he went, well, I'm getting in either way, so you might as well just go home. And I'm like, dog, I'm not gonna let you break into grandma's house. So he goes back to like banging on the door, and the door comes open and the screen door is locked. And my grandma's sitting there, she's like, you need to go home. I don't have any money for you. And he starts screaming at her about how she's the worst grandma ever and all he wants is his Easter money. And she's like saying really mean things. And I'm not a fan of people being mean to my grandma. So like I go up to him and I grab him from behind. I put my arms under his shoulder and I like try to pull him backwards away from the door, kind of more towards the driveway. And I guess at this point he'd worked up his adrenaline from trying to break into his own grandma's house, because what happens next is my cousin pulls a 180 as if he's a skater going down a stair set and like tries to swing on me. And here's the thing. Most of the family on this grandma's side is pretty short. Like my dad's side of the family isn't super tall. My mom's side is tall. Like that's where my height comes from. So my cousin, even though he's around the same age, doesn't really understand logic in the fact that he's like 5'4" and I'm 6'2", and we're kind of built the same, so this isn't gonna go well. So he turns around and tries to swing on me as if I'm the bad guy for trying to prevent him from breaking into my grandma's house. So here I am throwing fisticuffs with my cousin in front of my grandma's house while she's watching through the screen door, horrified because her grandkids are swinging on each other, and my cousin is screaming in my ear weird stuff about how, like, I wasn't a good cousin when I was little. Which, I mean, I guess true, but, like, I don't understand how that's relevant when you're fighting me while trying to break into grandma's house. And I'm not really, like, trying to fight the kid. I'm not trying to swing on him. He's just kind of following me around the driveway while I, like, try to back up. And every time he gets close, I'll, like, push him away, but I don't want to fight him. And so my grandma is now outside of the screen door, like, watching us, yelling, stop, stop, stop. And that's when my cousin just goes too far. Like I said, I haven't really been trying to fight him. All I've done is, like, push him and wrestle him a little bit. I don't want to fight my cousin. That's not fun. And then he turns around and he spits at my grandma, like, towards her. And at this point, I'm like, dog, all right, I've been nice. You've tried to break in. You've done all this. Now you're spitting at her. She doesn't want you to get hurt. But at this point, listen, you're family. I'm allowed to beat you up. So I go up to him after he spits at my grandma and I tackle him and I hit him like once or twice. It's not a lot. It's enough to let him know that, like, don't spit at grandma. And now he's crying. He's saying how I'm the worst and I'm a terrible person and he's going to tell his mom and dad all about this. Like, yes, my uncle being mad at me, an adult, is really going to hurt my feelings. I don't care. What? And also, your dad's going to call me and say, you hit my son. And when I say, yeah, well, he spit at your mom, he's going to take your side. Probably because his parents are terrible, but that's another story. So whatever. He gets up and I walk over to my grandma to make sure he's okay because he says, you know, he's crying, he's done, he's gonna tell his dad. Whatever, I only need to hit you twice anyways. I don't want to fight my cousin. So I walk over to my grandma to make sure she's okay because I'm fine. I mean, it's not like it really hurt that bad. He hits like a girl. But as I'm talking to my grandma, making sure he's okay, I don't know if this kid crawled up on me like the last zombie of the round or what, but he's on the ground and he bites the shit out of my calf, like hard, really, really hard. So I like scream because I didn't expect a human teeth imprint on my calf because he bit me so hard. And I turn, and this is really bad. I kick him in the head because he scared me. He bit my ankle, so when I turned, I just kicked. I didn't know it was there. I wasn't taking chances. What if it would have been a tiger or something? I've seen Tiger King. Those things are ferocious. I'm not taking chances. And when I kick him, he gets up and he's like, this is why I always hated you. Your family's so... Just crying. I can't even understand what he's saying. But something along the lines of, my family's poor. That's why we suck. He's always hated me. That type of stuff, you know. As if it's my fault that this grown man just bit me on the calf and is now crying like a little baby over the fact that there was a consequence. I don't know what you expect to happen. Call me a scientist here. If you bite somebody on the calf, they might hit you back. Just saying. So he freaks out and decides that he's had enough because my grandma tells him to go home. So he like angrily runs like a girl over to his Mercedes and hops in and goes home. And I look at my grandma, I'm like, are you okay? And she says, yeah, you know, he just came over and he knocked on the door and I answered. I thought he just wanted to see me. So I was talking to him through the screen door and he says, do you have my money? And I didn't know what he was talking about. And then he said that he knows that I have the Easter money for everybody. So why don't I just give it to him? And I'm like, okay, well, what'd you say? She says no, and then once she said no, he started trying to like open the door and come inside, was checking every window, and that's when she called me. So I guess my cousin is just nuts. I don't even know why it's so important. Like, he drove off in a Mercedes. Clearly, I don't think you need the $20 that grandma was gonna give you. Yeah, so that's how my Easter went. Hopefully, your guys' was less eventful. My grandma is okay. I didn't touch her, by the way. I made sure of that. So, yeah, my Easter was very peaceful until my cousin left a bite print on my calf. It wasn't expecting how I expected to get anything on Easter, but, like, I didn't find any Easter eggs, so now I find a reason to go to the hospital and make sure that I don't have any, like, rabies or anything. I don't know what my cousin has in his mouth. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys had a good Easter. I know this story's a little bit shorter. I just don't really want to stretch it. I fought my cousin. That's all you need to know. Before I forget, I did get a call later that day from my uncle where he yelled at me and basically said that I was wrong to beat up his son, but yeah, it really doesn't matter to me because, like, it doesn't matter if it's wrong, dude. You're my uncle. I really don't care. I don't. But yeah, On that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Defend your grandmas. Make sure that your uncle doesn't try to sue you for getting bitten by his son, and you should be golden. If you enjoyed and you're new, I'd really appreciate you subscribing, pressing that notification button, and if you do, I'd shout somebody out every single day. Today's notification shout out goes to I'm a Bond. Big thank you for being a stud. And yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. Follow me on Instagram at Scrubby, Twitter at Scrubby_69, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are having a fantastic day, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your kid will be as dumb as the story I'm about to tell you. I would press the like button because, trust me, the amount of brain cells you're about to hear about is very negative. Anyways, guys, today's story takes place in elementary school, the ripe old age of a first grader. You know, first grade is a very weird time in somebody's life, mainly because you don't really know how the world works yet. Like, little kids, for lack of a better word, well, they're just kind of dumb. They just don't really understand how the world works. They don't understand that, like, sometimes bad guys win, you know? Their only experience with anything is what the Power Rangers do every Tuesday. You just don't really understand the world. And along with not really understanding how the world works in most regards, when I was a little baby first grader, I also didn't know where babies come from, which is probably a good thing, because if your 6-year-old is walking around explaining to everyone the anatomy of how humans are reproduced, you've just got a weird kid, dude. You probably should have read him different books at bedtime. Instead of reading him The Magic of the Human Reproductive System, you should have just read him, like, I don't know, a book about pirates on an adventure or something. Regardless, as a little first grader, I didn't know a whole lot about making babies, where they come from, where they go. I don't know, I just assumed that one day a mom's like, hey, put a baby in me, and then, I don't know, there's just a baby. I didn't know how it worked. That wasn't a genius. I love how assuming, like, first graders knowing where babies come from is genius level for me. Albert Einstein? Yeah, sure, he did some cool stuff, but did he know where babies come from in first grade? I think not. One day while being a little first grade self, though, I'm balling out in the classroom, and this kid Dallin, who was in my class, comes to school and is basically like, look, I have a pretty big announcement I'm gonna be doing at recess, so when we're out there supposed to be playing whatever we did in first grade, tag, stupid games because your brain doesn't work right, we're all gonna have to go listen to Dallin because apparently he's got some pretty big news. And this was like a pretty popular kid, so for the most part, nobody was gonna question it. If he said that on the playground you were gonna go meet up and listen to what he had to say, that's what you were gonna do. It's weird how that happened in first grade too. Like, by the time kids get to first grade, there's already popular kids. There's already one kid in your class that smells like bologna and has a weird, I don't know, eye patch. Nobody really hangs out with them. Anyways, around recess, the rumors have been swirling all day. All class people are like, what do you think Dallin's gonna say? Some people are like, oh, I bet you he's moving. Some people are thinking that he's going to announce that he has superpowers. Nobody really knows what's going on. But as recess is getting closer, the hype in first grade is getting unreal. Recess finally comes, me and all the boys running over to the playground, and Dallin is standing on top of the junkie gym. The junkie gym? The monkey gym? What is a junkie gym? Is that where heroin addicts do pull-ups? Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. So first grade Jesus is standing on top of the jungle gym, just low-key screaming at all of his followers. My entire first grade class is gathered to obviously see what news the king of first grade has brought us. And first grade Jesus Dallin basically says, everyone, I'm gonna be a dad. And everybody in the crowd is like, oh, dude, are you for real, dude? Dallin's gonna be a dad, dude. Because we're all in first grade and we're idiots. And for whatever reason, the next question that comes out, instead of like, hey, how did you have a kid? You're 6. Or, you know, how does any of this work? This doesn't make any sense, is, oh my gosh, how? Oh my gosh, no way, oh my gosh. Like, all the first grade girls are like, it's so cute, it's a baby. So they start talking to him. And Dallin, while up on top of the jungle gym, starts saying that, yeah, yesterday he kissed his dog on the head before he went to bed, and this morning before he went to school, his mom told him that his dog was pregnant, so he's pretty sure he's the dad, and he's gonna have half dog, half human babies at the end of first grade, and that's pretty cool. And what do a group of 6-year-old first graders do when they hear that a popular kid in class has miraculously gotten his dog pregnant by kissing it on the head? What do? Well, we believe it. We believe it. First graders are dumb, and my entire class, me included, I'm not saying that I'm not an idiot, firmly believe that Dallin has gotten his dog pregnant. Nobody bats an eye, no first grader stops and goes, huh, That's weird. Why haven't I seen a dog-human baby hybrid before? Or the fact that that would be a terrifying species. Would it have a dog head on a human body? That's scary. Would it have a baby head on a dog body? Who knows? Is a baby head too heavy for a puppy body to lift up? These are the questions that we definitely should have been asking in first grade, but instead, we just assumed that this dude was really just excited to be a dad for his dog, and the entire class is being like so supportive of this Dallin kid, you know? The entire class is asking him for updates every day, constantly being like, man, are you nervous to be a dad? One day, I had a very weird conversation with him by the water fountain where I was basically like, when the kids grow up, are you going to go to school with them? Because I was very concerned about the dog years dynamic. Sure, you're a dad now, but by the time your puppies turn 1, they're older than you, Dallin. How are you going to boss around kids older than you? It's just not going to work. That's where my brain went. Instead of being like, I don't think you can have a half puppy, half human hybrid, I was very concerned with the dynamics of how these babies would age because dog years are whack. So for this awkward period where his dog is pregnant, the entire school is getting hyped for Dallin's baby, and I don't really know why the teachers never intervened, because they definitely knew, because at one point, the girls in our school tried to get our teacher permission to throw him a baby shower so we could get his kid baby clothes, even though there was no baby. I don't know, the teachers just never said anything. Like, they knew, but just never corrected us and were like, hey kids, that's not what happens. But I also feel like if you're a first grade teacher and some kids walk up to you and say that one of your students got his dog pregnant and you want to have a baby shower, I'd probably just turn the other direction too. Like, when you're 6, you know, you think it makes sense, but then you listen to 6-year-olds talk and you realize they're the equivalent of really tiny drunk people and you understand why it'd be possible to ignore them. But the teachers never corrected us, dude, so for, I don't know, however long dogs are pregnant, 9 months, whatever long it is, I don't remember it super well, but before the end of the school year, his dog has puppies. That's all you need to know. And one day, Dallin comes in looking incredibly depressed. Like he had just been hit with a sack of bricks by a fat mall Santa Claus, man. He is just not looking too happy. The look on his face is not amused in the slightest. And he walks in, he goes, guys, I have bad news. And the class is like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Did something happen to the babies? He goes, my dog had her puppies last night, and turns out I'm not the dad. It's another dog. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He goes, yeah, my mom said that there was no way it was going to be my kids, and I was holding out hope. And I'm like, dude, you were holding out hope, man. Like, in retrospect now, as an adult, it's crazy, but the entire class was legitimately upset that day. I mean, I wasn't, because like I didn't really care at that point, you know, but the girls in the class were very upset, so much so that they ended up like getting a card and getting all the girls in the class to sign it and say, oh my gosh, Dallin, we're so sorry, we're here for you. Which is, what? How does this work? You're telling me all I have to do is pretend to get my dog pregnant and then find out I'm not the dad, and every girl in my class is gonna write me love letters and say how sorry they are for me? Dang, I need to start pretending my dog's pregnant. I'm kidding, by the way. I would never, ever make a joke about my dog being pregnant because my dog is 3 and that's disgusting. However, after Dallin's dog did not have half human, half puppy babies, some weird kids in our class, like some other kids, started trying to copy them. Like, we had 4 or 5 kids come in the week after this and basically be like, oh, guys, my dog's pregnant with a half human, half full baby. My dog is, which, I mean, listen, first time it happens, shame on me. Obviously, I believed it because dogs and human puppy hybrids would be something dope in like a Star Wars movie. But the second time around, can't fool me anymore. I've learned my lesson. Everybody knows that dogs can't have babies with humans. It just goes to show you how dumb first graders are. They're not even smart enough to realize faking dog pregnancies the second time around isn't a good idea. However, Dallin sadly ended up losing a bit of his swag when he got to middle school because he never got rid of the dog pregnant thing. He would like talk about it a lot, so he got a lot of attention from girls and was really popular in middle school. But I guess by the time you're like 13, bragging about that time you thought you got your dog pregnant kind of loses its appeal on the ladies. Once they can drive, it's not cute anymore. Like, yeah, Dallin, I get it. You thought you got your dog pregnant when you were 6. I need gas money. Do you have that? Well, no, but my dog. Shut up, Dallin. Get out. We're done. It's over. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you guys pressing the like button, letting me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And if you've made it this far into the video, I would really appreciate it if you could take like a second and comment the word Dallin down below so we can make him a legend for thinking he got his dog pregnant. As for the amount of swag points that you have, they do go up drastically if you follow me on Instagram and and Twitter, both of which are down below. And if you turn on notifications, I upload stuff like this every day, and I give a shout out for it every day. So yeah, today's notification shout out goes to Aaron Music. Big thank you for having on notifications. I do really appreciate it. Turn them on, send a screenshot to my Instagram, I shout someone out. On that note, guys, other than that, join the Discord too. That's also down below. That's everything I've got to plug. Thank you so much for supporting me, everybody. Stay safe, stay inside, and most importantly, stay away from women unless they're hot, because you guys know the drill. Don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot. My name is Scrubby. This video is like 10 seconds away from 10 minutes. I'm doing what I gotta do, alright? I know the comments are gonna say, did you have to stretch it? I won't even put a lot of mid-rolls on it. I'll just put one. But yes, I did, because YouTube won't promote it if it's not 10 minutes, because Susan hates me and wants me to get run over by a car, and What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, I would really appreciate you pressing that like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. This video won't hit recommended, and that would be sad, because I'm already about 99% sure it's gonna get demonetized. Yeah, that's right. Normally, PG family-friendly Scrubs has left the building to tell a story that actually is about the weirdest day of school. I'm probably gonna name it like the best day of school, just because that title is gonna be even funnier, you know, once you guys actually hear the story. But it should be entertaining. It's pretty edgy though. It involves me eating some stuff that had some substances in it that affect the psychosis of the mind. But regardless, I would really appreciate you guys pressing the like button, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So this story takes place during my junior year of high school. You know, it was the end of the year, towards the end of the year, and it was around the time that we were doing like all the crazy big projects that you do at the end of the year that are worth like a ton of your grade. You know, that one project that your teacher hypes up and is like, it's worth 25% of your final grade, so you get all stressed out at the idea that you might fail the class even though you already have an A. I don't know if that's relatable for everybody, but I was pretty stressed out about this speech because it had to be at least 15 minutes long, and getting up and talking in front of people for 15 minutes is pretty hard. I mean, now I do it like basically every day with this channel, you know. I tell a story 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes every day, and I really enjoy doing it. But at the time, I like wasn't as practiced or as good at talking as I am now, so I was super nervous. So I stayed up constantly just like making this speech great. I worked really hard on it, and my friends were low-key kind of annoyed at me because I dropped off the face of the earth for about a week before this to just write my speech to make sure I could get an A. I usually hang out with my friends all the time, but like I said, I just really wanted to get an A. I didn't care about a lot of classes. This was like honestly the only one I really wanted to get an A in because I liked my debate coach a lot, and I just wanted him to, you know that I took his class seriously, which obviously a little nerdy. Alright, I'll make fun of myself a smidge. I'm a little bit of a dork when it comes to that type of stuff. But regardless, I really wanted to get an A. And because of that, I hadn't talked to my friends in my week, and they were kind of annoyed. And my friends, bless their heart, were stoners, you know, for lack of a better word. I was super into skating, and a lot of my friends really enjoyed partaking in the activity of you know, getting stoned. That's what they were big fans of, and I didn't really like to do it a ton. Like, obviously, I've done it, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I haven't. I've made a story time about my first time, but it wasn't really something that I did, like, super duper often back in high school. I just didn't really vibe with it. But regardless, a lot of my friends did, so I didn't hang out with them for a week, and I was texting one of my friends the night before, and it was his birthday the next day at school, and he's like, yo, I'm bringing brownies to school tomorrow, just catch me in the morning and grab one, it'll, like, help your stress. And I was like, yo, sick, I love brownies, and for whatever reason, you know, I just didn't really process the information that, like, the brownies that this dude was bringing to school for his birthday weren't just normal brownies, you know, they were the type of brownies where, if you eat them, you get super blazed like 2 hours later. But whatever, I get to school the next morning, and I'm talking to my friends before school. It's like 6:50 in the morning. Classes start at 7 a.m., and I have to give my speech and debate at 9 a.m. Like I said, it's a big part of our grade, and I have to talk for like 15 minutes. But we're hanging out and we're talking, and they hand me a brownie, and as we're sitting there for 10 minutes before school starts talking, I eat the entire brownie, and it was a pretty big chunk, like probably half of a paper plate size of a brownie. Like, it was a pretty big brownie in the grand scheme of things. And I don't know if any of you guys have any experience with edibles whatsoever. You're only supposed to eat like a half of a brownie, a quarter of a brownie, you know, and you're still gonna be good, really good all day. And like I said, I didn't realize that these brownies were full of, stuff that was gonna get me high. I just thought it was a normal brownie. So I finished the brownie and I go, yo, bro, can I have another one? Because the brownies were really good. They tasted really, really good. And my friend goes, bro, like, you ate the whole one already? And I'm like, yeah, of course, dude. It was delicious. Like, did your mom make them? And he goes, Ryan, that's not a normal brownie. It's an edible. And I'm like, what? Because I guess in the process of talking to my other friends, people coming up to him and saying happy birthday, he wasn't like babysitting me, watching me eat this brownie. And he just assumed that I had known that this brownie was like gonna have this issue or the stuff in it. It's not really an issue. He just thought I knew. And because I hadn't talked to my friends in a week and they were like low-key kind of mad at me for dipping, none of them had told me that they had spent last night making these brownies to bring to school for my friend's birthday. So I'm basically sitting here, and at this point in my life, I had never done edibles before. So I'm asking him like, all right, how long do I have before, before I just get smacked with the wrath of 1,000 suns? And he goes, all right, well, have you ever had an edible before? And I go, no. And all my friends are like, you ate a whole one and you've never done it before? And I'm like, yeah. And their eyes, their mouths were saying, you're gonna be fine, don't worry about it. But their eyes are saying like, oh my God, this kid is going to be so high, we need to get him out of school. And my friend whose birthday it is like, Ryan, you might want to go home. And I'm like, I can't. I have to give a speech and debate for my final exam, and I can't miss it. Like, theoretically, I guess I could have, but I just, for some reason, thought I was gonna be stronger than the edibles. Like, I was like, I mean, I could go home, but like, I'll be fine. I was not fine. That's what's coming in this story. So my friends are like, it's gonna smack you out of nowhere. It doesn't hit instantly. It'll take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, but like when it hits, it's going to hit. You're not gonna have a slow peak. You're not gonna have time to run. It's going to smack you like a freight train. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. So I go to my first hour class and I sit through it entirely. Nothing happens. I don't really feel anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I go into debate after. It's like 9 a.m. and I'm still feeling fine. And I'm like, whatever, I'll give my speech and, it'll kick in after and it won't be that big of a deal because I'll be in classes I don't care about. I was supposed to go first in debate, but there was this girl that had to go somewhere with her family or whatever. I don't know what the deal was, but she ends up going in front of me. And she goes over her allotted 15 minutes and ends up going for 20 minutes. And it was almost like the universe just wanted me to have a terrible experience, because if I would have just gotten up and given my speech and sat down, I would have had about 5 minutes before it hits me. But as this girl is doing like her closing statements, the end of her speech, I feel the feeling, you can't really describe it, but I kind of realized like, oh, my brain is not working normally. I'm thinking everything's hilarious. I'm laughing at her speech and it's about like, the homeless population, because whenever I get high, I just think everything is hilarious. I don't know why. I just can't stop laughing. My mind is like all over the place. I'm thinking of stupid stuff and I know it's dumb. And the realization hits me like as she's finishing her speech and my teacher calls my name, that I am now 100% blazed and I have to talk for 15 minutes about a serious debate subject. So I get up in front of the class and, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like I can take on the world. And I had written in practice this 15-minute speech about like, some debate subject, something super serious. But when I get up there, I decide that, talking about a serious subject just does not vibe with me right now. I'm really not feeling it. So I decide that I'm gonna talk about 15 minutes of Pokemon, because for whatever reason, when I was high sitting in my debate class, I just started thinking about how weird Pokemon is. So I start telling my entire class about how Pokemon is this game made by Game Freak and Nintendo in Japan, and it's basically like, teaching kids that you can gather up animals and make them fight until they knock each other out, and if you knock out the other person's animals first, then like you win a gym badge, and I'm seriously talking about this for 15 minutes. I do not understand on what planet, on what wavelength my brain was on, because even since then, like, I've been high since, never been able to talk about how Pokemon is not a good influence on kids for 15 minutes. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I still play Pokemon. Every time a new one comes out, I load it up in the DS or the Switch and I play it. So I don't know why I was so offended that day, but for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, man, Pokemon like straight up is teaching kids about animal abuse, and that's kind of whack. And after 15 minutes of talking about Pokemon. I don't remember a ton of it, obviously, like I said, but I do remember being like, thank you, in the class just sitting there silently. Nobody clapped. Nobody had anything to say. Everybody is just staring at me. And one thing that you have to do after your speech and debate is answer questions. And so my debate coach is like, does anyone have any questions? And nobody is raising their hand because they just are like, usually I was pretty good at giving speeches, all right? I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I was a state champion in debate. I'm usually pretty good. And I just got up there and went off for 15 minutes about Pokemon teaching kids animal abuse, probably not very coherently. My eyes, you know, from a picture that I took on that day, I don't have anymore, bloodshot. Like, I was very obviously not under a good state of mind. So my coach starts asking me questions about Pokemon. And for whatever reason, it's taking me like 5 minutes to respond. I don't remember a ton of this super well. Like, I remember a little bit of it, but my friends on the debate team afterwards are like, dude, he would ask you a question and you would just look at him with your glazed over eyes for like a minute and then answer the question. So what was supposed to be a 15-minute speech and answering questions for like 5 minutes ends up taking me, you know, 25 minutes because I'm slow. And because the girl had gone over too, the class period ends. I go about my classes, you know. On the way out, my teacher calls me over and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I feel great, to be honest, man. I'm feeling fantastic. He's like, is anything wrong, you know? And I make up this excuse. I go, oh, no, I'm on some new medication for an ear infection and it's making me feel weird. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. And for whatever reason buys that my ear infection medicine just is making me faded enough to talk about Pokemon for 15 minutes. And I ended up going to class and enjoying the rest of my day, fell asleep in science, took a fat nap, went home, and ate more food than I ever have before. And yeah. Anyways, guys, that's the story of me doing my final exam after I low-key accidentally, kind of on accident from both parties, got super baked in class, ended up giving a 15-minute speech about Pokemon teaching kids animal abuse, and for those of you wondering what grade I got, a solid 87%. Yeah, that's right. Even when I'm baked, I can still get a high B talking about Pokemon. Realistically, though, moral of the story, don't do drugs, kids. It's not cool. I think I'm required to say that by law. This video is probably gonna get demonetized, so if you could like and comment, I would really appreciate it. It helps the video do better. And you know, I'm trying new gameplay. I'm staying more chill like you guys wanted. I'm trying to do what you guys want to see. So if you could just take a second, press the like button, I'd appreciate it. Cop yourself some of the merch if you haven't already, because you know, I'm gonna take it down, get some good stuff now. New stuff on the way. And as for today's notification shout out, it goes to the very fantastic, super awesome, incredibly talented N7 Javik. He's a super cool dude. I forgot to give him a notification shout out a while ago when I told him I would, and I'm super sorry for that. But yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Join the new Discord server down below, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. I know I am. I'm actually in California when you guys are seeing this. You know, I made these ahead of schedule, and, you know, if that's pretty swag with you, then be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Pirates will actually attack you when you're on a cruise, take you, go to the captain's office and make you say, look at me, I am the captain now. So this is actually a story from high school. This was a big deal at our school. One of the kids actually ended up destroying a car and got away with it completely while bragging about it. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, how is that possible? And let me tell you, if I explained it this quick, there wouldn't be a video about it. So I'm gonna be telling you guys the story time about how this icon somehow managed to get away with the crime of the century and most importantly, entertain a bunch of people while doing it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Anyways, guys, one day I go to school and this kid is sitting there and he's got this big smile on his face and he starts telling us that he destroyed a car on the way to school this morning. And I'm like, all right, bet. So tell me the story then if this is legit. Cause like, I don't know about you, but when somebody goes, oh yeah, I destroyed expensive property and I'm not in jail right now, I just have a hard time believing it. Usually I'm like, oh yeah, sure you did. You know, you destroyed a car and you're sitting here in class instead of getting interrogated by somebody. Anyways, across the street from my school was this crosswalk that most kids that like lived in the neighborhood would take. And whenever I walked to school, I had to cross it too. And for the most part, it's pretty safe, except for like the 5 minutes before school starts. Because whenever it's 5 minutes before school starts, people just forget how to drive, and cars like will get super aggro in the crosswalk. I almost got hit basically every other day. It was super common for kids to get hit at the crosswalk. Like it wasn't rare. People just forgot how to drive whenever it was about time. And this kid lived near my neighborhood. Like he would cross the same road, you know? And like I said, it was pretty common for cars to suck, and there started to be like just almost infamous people that were really terrible at driving at our school, and you would just know their cars based on how bad they would drive. Like we almost got hit by certain cars so much we just started identifying them, you know, which is not a good thing. Like it should not be a good thing that everybody knows that your Toyota Corolla is the one that's almost killed 15 freshmen. That's not a good thing. But, you know, the kids who would cross the street just started to learn the vehicles that were not going to slow down at all, and we would avoid getting hit by them, because that's what you do when you might get hit by a car, is you avoid getting hit by the car. That's the go-to. Also, watch how absolutely disgusting me and Dom do this right now, bro. Ah, really beautiful Overwatch on screen. Quite impressive, to be honest. Anyways, like I said, we just started to learn that certain people would basically hit us with this car, and there was this senior that thought it was super cool to try to hit us. Like, he would purposely slow down and then get as close to hitting us as he could. And no, that's not a very fun game. That's a very dangerous game to play, but for some reason, seniors in high schools could be basically psychopaths, and as long as they were athletic, they couldn't get in trouble. And like, this kid was a notorious athlete who basically knew he was untouchable. Our principal would not suspend anybody that would make him look bad, and this kid going on and being good in sports made him look good. So this guy in this giant truck would always cut it super close to hitting everybody who was crossing the street. But for whatever reason, I guess on the timing of these dudes' day, it was always especially close to hitting him. Like this kid who had destroyed the car this day and was bragging about it, right? So he starts telling us that, you know, the truck that's always close to hitting us. And when I say this guy would get close to hitting us, here's what he would do. First of all, he would drive to school with like 4 friends in the back of the truck, and they would yell like, "Get him!" And he would literally come within inches of hitting you. Like it was super close, and everybody was pissed off. And I guess today this kid had finally just had enough. Because what he explains is he's on his way to school and he's already a little late. And he was almost glad he was late, because that meant that the truck most likely already be parked, so he didn't have to, you know, play Frogger to get across the street to school safely at all. But I guess the truck happened to be late too this morning. And this kid, you usually cross with a group of friends, was late, so he was crossing the street by himself. And as he gets about halfway off, the truck goes in front of him and stops and blocks the crosswalk, right? And so my friend tries to, or not my friend, but like the kid tries to go around it in front of it, and the truck steps on the gas and like keeps inching him further into the road while blocking his way around the truck, right? And at this point, the kid's late. This guy's been messing with us, almost hitting pedestrians all week. And so the kid just has enough, gets up on the hood of the truck, stomps across it like crunch, 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 dents the hood the entire way while he's walking across this, just literally does not care in the slightest, has no regard for the truck, and at one point kicks the windshield, cracks it, like low-key messes this truck up, dents the crap out of the hood of the truck, cracks the windshield, just an absolute savage, because this guy wouldn't get out of the way. And I guess the guy gets out of the truck and is like, "What the hell, man, are you kidding me?" And is like freaking out at the freshman who just did this, you know, decided to destroy the truck. And obviously the kid is, everybody's like flabbergasted, isn't dead yet, you know? And so the guy's like, "You're gonna pay for this, your parents are screwed, do you have any idea how much trouble I'm gonna get you in? I'm gonna tell the principal, like, you think you're so slick, I can't believe you destroyed my car," being super cocky, thinking he's about to get the payday of his life. This kid is gonna have to pay for his new truck, you know? He's gonna have to fix it. He's gonna have to get him a new windshield. He's gonna have to fix all the dents. And then the kid does the only thing that would be possible to get out of this situation without a noogie and like a nuclear wedgie the size of Hiroshima, all right? He looks at the guy and says, "I don't think you want to do that." And the senior's all cocky. He's like, "Yeah, give me one reason I shouldn't turn you in. Like, you have nothing." And they say that revenge is a dish best served cold, but I'm not quite sure that's the case, because this kid looks at the senior and goes, "Because then the principal's gonna have to get you in trouble." And the smile kind of disappears on his face. He's like, "What are you talking about?" And he begins to explain that every day when he comes close to hitting them and him and his friends are laughing in the truck saying, "Ha ha, look at how close we got to hitting these kids," he's been recording it. and he has it all compiled into a montage of this kid basically almost running over at least 2 people a day for the entire school year. And look, our principal can let kids get away with a lot, you know? You bully some freshmen, okay, they're probably gonna let it slide because bullying freshmen is just a rite of passage, I'm not gonna lie. As somebody that's been through it, it's just something freshmen have to deal with, okay? But I don't really think that, you can really fudge kids trying to run each other over. Like, if the news gets a hold of that, you know, you come out as the president that lets people almost hit each other with cars, that's not very good rep. Your superintendent probably isn't gonna be a big fan. And, you know, the bully kid, like, calls his bluff. He's like, I don't believe you. So the kid pulls out his phone and sure enough, has like a 5-minute compilation of just 10-second clips of them almost hitting him and like bragging about it, which is a very dumb thing to brag about, by the way. Like, if I can offer one piece of advice, if you're gonna try to hit people with your car, maybe don't flex it, you know? Don't like be like, aha, we almost hit you with car. Like, that's just admitting to the crime that you're being accused of. That's not very smart. That's like robbing a bank and being like, yeah, see, this here robbery was so good that me, Scrubby, the owner of this YouTube channel, sure did rob this bank. Isn't that big brain of me? You're just leaving a trail, man. Like, do you want to spend the rest of your life behind bars? I don't think so. So the senior kind of realizes this kid's not playing games, but the only problem is if he backs down now, he looks like a coward, bro. Like, you're gonna let some little kid destroy your truck and not do anything about it? But his hands are tied, man. He damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, there's really no way out of this at all, because if you think about it, you can't afford to be known as the kid attempting vehicular manslaughter while kids are trying to go to school. That's not a good look. Colleges don't want to recruit that kid, you know? No matter how athletic you are, it's kind of a bad rap when the college guy goes, oh, the major you're going to be studying is the old Aaron Hernandez, where you become a famous athlete and then are convicted of crimes. Yeah, that's not too good, buddy. We're going to have to decline your scholarship. Sorry about that. Regardless, though, the senior finally realizes his options and is like, yeah, I guess we're good, dude. I guess we're good. Looks at the kid and is like, but this is not done. Like, I'm going to get revenge on you another way. And the kid, smiling, cocky. I would have been terrified if somebody with, like, that much influence at our school was, you know, you're done. I'm going to find a way to get revenge. Cocky, I guess, smiled at him and went, yeah, for sure, dude. Enjoy the truck, and just walked into school. Sure enough, somehow the senior kept his mouth shut and didn't rat, which is crazy because I feel like most teenage kids would definitely crack under pressure once your parents go, oh my god, what happened to your car? Why are there footprints on the hood? Surprisingly though, the next day too, the kid's truck was fixed, so I guess having rich parents that are also terrible people probably helps. Like, if my kid came home and went, yeah, I tried to run over some freshmen and he got pissed and destroyed my car, I'd be like, well, you're a jerk, so have fun getting a minimum wage job to fix it, because I'm not. But I guess when, you know, all of your parents are jerks, your mom's a jerk, your dad's a jerk, they fell in jerk love and had jerk kids, it's pretty normal to have your car destroyed. Like, son, we've all been there. Everybody knows the first time a kid who you bully stands up to you and destroys your car is a rite of passage in a man's life, son. And as for the revenge, you know, the jocks actually left the kid alone because they realized he probably meant business. I feel like anyone smart enough to figure out a foolproof way to destroy their bully's car and get away with it definitely is not the person I want to start like a long-standing beef with, you know? You don't fight the kid that is like, I will do anything until you are destroyed, for you are my enemy, and it is my one goal in life to make sure that you no longer have pleasantries. When you sleep at night and see me in your night terrors, I will know I will have victory. So, low-key, it kind of worked out for him. But that's the story of how a kid destroyed a car and got away with it. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. Turn on notifications and subscribe. If you're new, I upload videos like this every single day. Pretty fun stuff, so check it out. And if you turn on those notifications and send a screenshot to my Instagram, I shout somebody out every day. And today's notification shout-out goes to CRO91356. Big thank you for having on notifications. Turn them on, send a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby. Get the merch if you really want to support some no joke, no scam stuff. It is 100% proven to make you cooler with the ladies. And yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. I'm gonna go try to enjoy my vacation if anybody needs me. It's hard to make story times out there, and you guys know how it is, you know, it's hard to be me. Hopefully I don't see a Karen at Disneyland. That's my hope. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are having a fantastic day, then be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. A Visco girl will walk up to you at lunch and smack you with the hydro flask saying, should have pressed the like button. Yeah, that's right, guys. And I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So I'd press the like button if I were you. Hydro flasks are heavy. Anyways, guys, what's going on? Today I have a story for you guys that involves a kid smashing his own phone to try to impress some people, and I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret, okay? Pay close attention. If you want people to think you're cool, destroying expensive things you have probably isn't the good way to do it, you know? No one's ever like, you know what would be just so sick, bro? Like, what would be the sickest thing ever? If, like, someone bought something sick and then just broke it in front of me to show me how poor I am. That would make me want to be their boy. But apparently some kids out there just, you know, they missed that memo. They missed that part of the friend class. Friend class, man. I need a friend class because I don't have any friends. Other than that, guys, it should be a fun video. So, yeah, let's get into it. But before we do, you know what time it is. You guys should, go get merch. Yeah, woohoo. Yay, get it. Ooh, no joke, no scam. Ooh. Anyways, guys, when I was a sophomore in high school, we had this new kid who, like, came into our class. And, obviously, there's this awkward thing whenever a new kid shows up where the teacher's like, all right, class, we have a very special guest for today's class. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And they have to, like, stand up and introduce themselves. And most new kids, you know, you can tell that they're nervous and you feel bad for them. Like, you couldn't imagine how awkward this has to be when you have to get up and say a sentence about yourself that describes you, you know? Like, that's weird. And usually kids get up and they're like, oh, hey, I'm Mark. I like to play video games and football. And I'm happy to be here. Yeah. And they sit down. Like, it's just some basic explanation of, you know, the one thing that's, like, defining their personality most of all, you know? Mine would be loser who talks to video game content. You know, like, just whatever the most important thing about you is, you know? Anyways, this kid walks in, and I immediately, like, just from the look of him, I don't like him, all right? I know they say never judge a book by its cover, and that's probably a good motto to live by, but at the time, you know, you can kind of tell what somebody's gonna be like just by, like, their attitude. Not anything he was wearing or like it, but just the attitude he had. He had this smirk on his face that was just like, yes, these simpletons sitting in my class simply will not do. I will need to replace them with something of a higher quality. Like, he just had this snobbish look on his face. And, you know, I'm pretty good at reading people because the first things out of his mouth aren't, hi, I'm Jason, I really like video games. It's, hi, I'm Eric, and your dads probably have worked for my dad at some point because he's kind of important in this town. And, like, basically, you know, that's the opening. That's a bad opening, dude. I'm just saying. Couple critiques I have of your opening, lad. Don't take it personally. Constructive criticism, you know, that's all it is. Saying that your dad somehow is in control of how we view you because our dads have worked for him is weird. And you didn't even say work for your dad. You said have worked for my dad. Like, does your dad buy stuff from around town? Like, does your dad build stuff and, like, buy concrete? Like, that's pretty normal. I guess technically, sure, everyone's worked for your dad. Also, why would I care if your dad's important around town, bro? I'm just trying to, like, pass this class right now and you're in here, I'm important around town. Well, that's good for you, bro. I'm really happy that, you know, all the boomers around here who still care or think you're real important. It's just this attitude, dude. Nobody wants to be friends with the kid who acts like he's a snob. But, sure enough, you know, he comes in, he sits in the class, and everybody's kind of just silent. Nobody's like, yo, dude, what's up? What's up, bro? What's up, bruh? Anyways, there's a seat, and of course, right after this, the teacher goes on to explain that we're going to be working in groups today, and who else do I get in a group in but the lovely new kid? And, like I said, I knew me and him just weren't going to get along right away, you know? I don't really enjoy acting like I'm better than people. I don't know. I feel like no matter what your situation is, we're all just kind of vibing out. That sounded really hippie, but I hope you guys know what I mean. Anyways, I digress. So we get into our group and we're just chilling there and everybody's having a nice conversation because I knew the other people. There were 2 other people in our group and then the kid who was new. So he walks over to us and sets his bags down and he just kind of looks at us and he goes, hi. We say, hey, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to just, like, be mean, so I'm just trying to be chill. I'm like, hey, how you like the school so far? You know, how's it going? And he's like, ooh, sorry, but I don't think I want to be friends with anyone from your group. And when he says your, he, like, waves his hand at me dismissively, and I go, oh, why not? And he's like, because, you know, you guys just aren't really my group. So you guys can do the worksheet, and I'll help when I can, but like I don't want to conversate. I don't want to interact with you guys outside of just getting the work done. Oh, you don't want to conversate with me outside of getting the work done, dude. I didn't ask like if I could have your social security number. I didn't ask if I could go work for your dad. I asked if you liked our new school. Like I didn't realize that was the question. Oh. Whoa, I have an image to uphold. I can't answer a basic question from just anybody around these parts. Goodness gracious. Do you want me to disgrace my family talking to a peasant, a simpleton, someone of the lower class beneath me? Like, just a really douchey thing. So I looked at the other two people, and we all just kind of roll our eyes and start doing the worksheet, We're like, oh, okay. So obviously, the kid eventually kind of gets over the silence. Either that or he just really likes to hear himself talk, because apparently the whole not talking to us thing wasn't going to last. And I do think it's because this kid just loved the sound of his own voice so much. So he starts telling us all about how he spent last summer in Europe on the beach and how they had taken a private jet, like telling us all this stuff about, oh, my dad's so rich, we get to do all this cool stuff. And we're all, like, yo, dude, that sounds dope. I'm summer in Europe sounds sick. I'm not even going to lie. But we weren't really impressed. Like, none of us started being nicer to him. We just kept doing the worksheet and going about our business as normal as possible. And I think this kid was used to people, like wanting to hear all these stories and hear more about like how sick he is. But, as someone from a lower social class, I couldn't possibly understand the hardships that this kid has gone through. I mean, I was kind of ignoring him to piss him off. I could tell it bothered him that none of us were impressed, and if you were cool, I probably would ask you questions about Europe because that's interesting, but when you're kind of a jerk, I don't want to hear about it. So we're all just kind of ignoring him, and I can tell it's bothering him. Like, he starts to, try to flex things harder about like how his pool has a water slide. We're like, yo, that's dope, bro. Congrats. Like, we're just kind of just ignoring him, and it's pissing him off. He wants us to, be fascinated with him. Like, he wants us to want him to be our friend so he can reject us, It's not cool if, like, we don't care if he likes us or not, So he starts trying super hard, like I said, pulling up all the stops, flexing everything. And we get to this part on the worksheet, and it's kind of like, oh, so you need to time how long something, yada, 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 how long something takes, right? So one of the people at the table, one of the other two people, and I don't know these other two very well, but we had kind of just come to the agreement that we were going to just not let this kid impress us at all, pulls out his phone to get the stopwatch. And he had an older phone, so it's like, at this time, I think he had an iPhone 4 and the iPhone 7 was new. Yes, I'm kind of a boomer. I understand. You are more than welcome to write in the comments below. Oh my god, you're so old! Anyways, I'm sitting here with Rich Douche Canoe, another kid, and someone who just whipped out a dinosaur-aged phone. And he's like, all right, I'll use my timer. And the rich kid like scoffs at him and goes, that's your phone? I had that when it was new. I have this now. And he pulls out his new iPhone 7 Plus. He's like, it's the maxed model, blah, blah, blah. Starts flexing it. And we're like, nice, man. Good for you. And he's like, oh, I don't even care about it. Like, this doesn't even mean anything to me. I'll break it right now. Like, I don't even care. And we're like, oh, why would you break your phone? He's like, yeah, because my dad's loaded. Like, he'll get me another one. Like, I don't even care. And we just, cool, dude. Good for you. I'm glad your dad will buy you a new phone. That's sick. Can we, finish this now? Like, can we just time what we need to time and get the worksheet done? He's like, oh, you don't believe me? Like, you don't believe that I don't care about my phone? We're like, nope, nobody said that. We just don't care. We don't care if you don't care about your phone. That doesn't mean anything to me. And he's like, no, I really don't. Like, I'll break it right now. And we're like, why would you break your phone? He goes, yeah, look. And he gets up, he puts his phone on the desk, and he like walks over to the front of the class and picks up this thing that our teacher had on this desk. And it's like this big metal like paperweight, and it's literally like a fist. It's just a big metal fist that he had to like weigh down papers. It's a paperweight. And he walks back and he goes, look, and he takes this fist and he just smacks his phone and the screen cracks. He's like, I don't even care. And he just keeps hitting it, and everybody's looking at him now like, what are you doing? And the teacher's like, what are you doing? He goes, yeah, whatever, like, I'll get a new one tomorrow. And everyone's just staring at him, and he's like, yeah, pretty cool, huh? And I look at him and I'm like, dude, that was really douchey. And he's like, what do you mean douchey? I said, a lot of people would have liked that phone. It was brand new. Why? What was the point of breaking it? You expect me to respect you if you just like treat things that you have like garbage all the time? Like, aw, sick, dude. You broke a brand new phone in front of a kid whose parents can't afford one. Awesome. That's so dope. And he starts trying to explain. He's like, oh no, but like my dad. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Your dad's gonna buy you a new one, dude. It's just no one cares. Like you're not, is your personality attached to the fact that you can break your phone? Like that's all you have to offer as a person? You have nothing else? You can't have a conversation. You can't bond over like the fact that you both like baseball. The only thing you can do to make people like you is break expensive stuff. And he's just sitting there like mouth open. He's like, you're not impressed? No, I'm not. And everybody else is like just kind of staring at him. And then the kid with the iPhone 4 goes, yo, I have this phone because like my parents can't afford a new one, dude. Like I don't like having this phone any more than you think I do. That was just kind of douchey. Like, way to prove it. Oh, you got me, man. Sick. In his response, he gets all snooty and defensive. He's like, well, I'm not going to be your guys' friend if you act this way. And we're like, we don't want you to be our friend, dude. We don't. If that's how you're going to act, like if this is the type of person you are, yeah, good. Don't be our friend then. And he's just flabbergasted. And then class ends, right? And we leave, and the kid doesn't have a phone. Like, wait, what was that supposed to do, dude? Now for the rest of the day, congrats. You don't have a phone. You just smashed your phone to prove nothing. We still don't want to be your friends. And even then, let's say your dad is rich. If I was rich and my son said, yeah, I shattered my phone to try to impress these kids and they weren't impressed, I would say, wow, those are smart kids. That sucks. Here's your old iPhone 4. Have fun using it. Sadly, though, homeboy was right. His dad apparently liked him enough to, get him a new phone. But, yeah, I witnessed a kid shatter his brand new iPhone with a paperweight to try to prove to us that he was super cool. Didn't work that well, backfired. The kid was not immensely popular. Yeah, word got around pretty quick that he made himself look like a gigantic Douchosaurus Rex, and he didn't really have that, same reputation as being loved by everybody. He did fit in really well with a couple kids, though, because there were a lot of people that shared that mentality, sadly. But, yeah, moral of the story is don't smash your phone because it'll probably backfire and people won't think you're cool. On that note, though, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Be sure to comment down below. And, yeah, you guys are all incredible. Today's notification shout out goes to the one, the only, fantastic Frankie Marino 091. Big thank you for having on notifications. If you want a notification shout out, turn on noties. Send me a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby. And, yeah, use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. I hope you guys have a good one. Don't get anyone pregnant if you do. Make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Peace. All right, let me get my sword. I have an iPhone to break, okay? It's not going to break itself. We need to smash it as fast as humanly possible. Just go for it. Don't even question it. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You'll get the coronavirus. Yeah, that's right, boys. Not pressing the like button is a guaranteed one-way trip to Coronavirus City, and it's not pretty. Anyways, guys, today I have a story about a weird kid that I met back in school, all right? This is actually a weird kid that I met in college, you know how it goes every now and then. You just meet someone and you're like, wow, you're someone worth talking about. Like, I'm gonna tell my friends about how weird of a person you are, right? And this person definitely was up there on the weird scale, because most people outgrow their weird in middle school or high school. But if your weird makes it all the way to college with you, dude, if you're unpacking in your dorm room, unpacking your weird when you're 20, there's something wrong, all right? Your weirdness is never gonna go away. You're gonna be permanently weird, perma-weird, as they call it on the streets. Regardless, though, it is entertaining, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in college, for whatever reason, we had this assignment where we had to partner up with 3 other kids in our class and write an essay about what we wanted to be when we grow up, what were we in college to do? What was our dream job, And it was a pretty easy project for me. I quite literally wrote my essay about how I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be in college, and then 2 months later I wasn't in college, So my assignment gets done quick, but like I said, we had to work with a group, and however we were in class, we had to get with our essay group and talk about our essays and what was going on. So I finished mine in the first 2 days, because it's quite literally just 5 pages of me being I don't know, I just feel like this is a waste of my time. So that gets done pretty quick, but other people weren't so lucky. There was another kid in the group who was pretty cool, and he wanted to be a doctor, so he's writing about how he wants to save people's lives, a stand-up citizen. I want to sacrifice my life and learn everything I can to help as many people as possible and make bank along the way. That's a pretty cool dude, you want to be a doctor, that's a vibe, There was another kid in our group, though, named Gavin, who was a bit bizarre. bizarre. The first time he was writing his essay and showed us his rough draft, he wanted to be a level 7 wizard. I guess he played some like, LARPing game, and him and his friends had made up their own ranks, and you could only level up once every 10 years. So his life goal was to live to be 80, not for anything cool, just so he could be a level 7 wizard in their LARPing game, I don't want kids, I don't want a wife, I just want to make it to be 80 to make it in my LARP game. But whatever, man, everybody's into something different. I ain't really gonna judge you that hard, so I was like, yo, that's pretty dope, but I don't think our teacher is gonna vibe with it, It's kind of asking, why are you in college? And I don't think there's a college class called being a level 7 warlock at the age of 86. And something that this dude would do was constantly tell us how much smarter he was than us, alright? He'd be like, yeah, I've taken plenty of IQ tests online, and don't take this the wrong way, but like, you simpletons probably won't be able to grasp my essay when it's done. You guys had a hard time understanding my rough draft, and so I'm just being called stupid by a man whose life goal it is to be like a level 7 wizard, and I'm just kind of vibing out, and I'm just doing my thing, trying to help him. And so he says, well, what should I write my essay about? So I tell him, well, it's about something in college. What are you getting your degree in? And he says business. I'm like, all right, well, do you have any business ideas? And he goes, well, someone of my IQ level obviously has business ideas. You don't get to be to where I'm at by, not being a genius. Ah, yes, how could I forget the ever-increasing genius pool of level 7 wizards, dude? Like, I didn't really know how this dude wanted me to respond to that. Like, obviously, I have business ideas if I'm a level 7 wizard. Oh, yeah. Who could forget that when you go on Shark Tank, the most important thing to do is look at Mark Cuban and go, listen, Mark, I have no business experiences, but I'll tell you what, I'd be a mean level 7 wizard, all right? So give me my $15 million for 1% of my company, and let's get out of here, all right? Quit playing games. It's not funny anymore. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not how that works, but whatever. He decides that he's gonna go home and come back with a fantastic business plan, one that's gonna blow me out of the water, the teacher out of the water, get him an A on his essay. I'm like, all right, dude, good for you. Because in all honesty, I hope every single one of you comes up with a great business plan and becomes billionaires. You guys all deserve that life. So whatever, the next day comes and he walks in smug and he starts telling us how we're about to witness the next level of the future, okay? The idea that he came up with is so foolproof. He can personally guarantee he will be a millionaire by the end of the year. And we're like, all right, so what you got? Tell us about it. And so me and this kid are sitting there just like, looking at this dude wide-eyed, because obviously we don't think he has a plan that'll make him a millionaire by the end of the year. And he opens up with this. What is something that has entertained people through the eons? And we're like, I don't know. He's like, fighting, whether it be MMA or gladiators or even jousting. Combat has always been something that has brought people joy in times of entertainment. And we're like, all right, a little intense, but fair enough, bro. I like watching MMA. I'm not going to try to fight you, but every now and then, I'll watch some people fight. It's pretty sick, fair enough. And he goes, okay, what else have people loved since the beginning of time? What is man's best friend? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, dogs. Okay, fair enough. Dogs are man's best friend. But if you're like me and you're a logical person, you're probably thinking right now, I don't really understand what dogs and the fact that people like to watch fights has to do in common. Like, you're not quite sure how these things are related. And that's because you're a real human being with a brain who thinks. And he starts to explain to us that he's going to teach dogs how to box and then do a dog boxing league, which is dumb for a few reasons. First of all, you can't teach dogs how to box. That's not on their list of tricks. And when I told him that, trying to be a nice guy, hey man, it's a cool idea, but I'm pretty sure that you can't teach dogs how to box, he looked at me, got mad at me, and was like, ugh, such simpletons. Obviously, if you were smart enough, you could train dogs to do anything. Look at all the jobs that dogs already do. He starts saying they guide blind people, they help police officers, they help firefighters. Dogs can be trained to do any job. And I'm like, yeah, but in all those instances, they're kind of just trained to like sniff stuff. They're not trained to be fighting each other. Not to mention, dude, the other thing you forgot, dog fighting is illegal. It's illegal to make dogs fight each other. And he's like, whoa, no, because this would be different because they'd be boxing, not normal dog fighting. And I don't think the cops would fall for that. Like, imagine you're starting a dog boxing ring. The cops kick down the door. There's labradoodles with boxing gloves just sitting there. And you're like, hey, officer, what's going on in here? Definitely legal dog fighting. It's dog boxing. They have their licenses. You're still going to go to jail. So me and the other kid in the group are trying to politely tell this kid that no, starting a dog boxing league is probably not the best way to make $1 million. Like, it probably is not possible to do that and make a lot of money. So he starts going off about how we're stupid and we're not the teacher, so we should not be giving him any opinions on his business idea, and obviously we're too dumb to get it. Yes, I am too dumb to understand that starting a boxing league where dogs have to fight each other probably won't work. It is probably not going to be something that can work. I'm so sorry, you know? Imagine this dude just trying to train dogs like there's puppies. He's got them boxing gloves. He's like, all right, now fight away. And the puppies just look at him and like crawl away, dude. Like, how would you even train dogs to fight? I mean, they train them to like sniff stuff by, you know, using their strong nose and like rewarding them. What, are you gonna start giving the puppies treats every time they land like an RKO on somebody and knock them unconscious? How would you even train dogs to fight? So whatever. He goes off on me because I'm the idiot for telling him that a boxing league won't work. And he starts telling me how it's going to be bigger than the UFC because people love puppies and fighting, which is a really weird combination of stuff people love. That's the equivalent of this. People love eating, right? Everyone loves food in one way or another. Everybody loves one type of food. You might love In-N-Out. You might love Chinese food, you know, China. You might love China. Sure, you might love China. I don't care. You can like whatever you like, man. Anyways, what else does the internet love? Kittens. So what if we put the two together and we started making cat burgers? Like, certain things that everybody loves shouldn't go together, okay? Everybody loves, I don't know, popsicles, okay? People also love, you know, going to the bathroom. I don't like when it feels like I have to pee, but I don't want a pee popsicle. Just because two things are liked does not mean that they go together, and that's okay. But obviously, I'm the moron. So he's yelling at me and this guy, and we're like, all right, then you do your paper on your own. We go to our teacher. We explain that he's, you know, being, like, degrading to us in the group, and he's going to do it on his own. We don't want him to get in trouble. We don't want to cause any problems. We just don't want to be responsible for him. Our teacher's like, you know what? Okay, sounds good. He can do his project on his own. So me and my friend turned in our papers. I think I ended up getting a C. Okay, my other friend, who, like, wasn't really my friend, but obviously, you know, I got along with him better than the person who was calling me a moron for not believing in the dog fighting league. Now we vibing, all right? So we turn ours in, we get it done. This kid gets a D because obviously our professor points out to him that you cannot start a dog fighting league for multiple reasons. The teacher puts on the essay, and I quote, "I don't think you could train dogs to fight. Also, pretty sure this is illegal." And you know what happens? The kid walks up to us and says, "Since you guys left the group, he graded mine unfairly and gave me a D when I should have gotten an A because my business plan was foolproof." So I'm like, all right, let us see like your business plan, because it was a business class. And this is what he outlined. He outlined that he was going to charge people $3,000 to enter a dog in the dog fighting league. And then he was going to teach it to box personally. He was going to spend every day with a bunch of puppies that people paid $3,000 for, teaching them how to box. And when they learned how to box, then they would pay-per-view the fight for $200 on ESPN that he doesn't have a contract with. And it would sell out, and basically that's how they would make all their money. You're telling me people are going to pay twice what they pay for a Conor McGregor fight for a dog boxing league, bro? You're just delusional. But regardless, some people out there are weird, you know? I guess some people out there just want to start a dog fighting league for some reason. Not even a dog fighting league, okay? No Michael Vick in here. A dog boxing league, and just don't understand it's a bad idea. And apparently, when you point out to them how bad their idea is, it's completely your fault. But I guess certain weird people out there really just be doing the most to give you good story times. But that's reality. Anyways, guys, on that note, that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed and you want to support the channel, check out the No Joke, No Scam merch. As you can see, it is very swag. Other than that, though, if you're new or if you're old, be sure to press the like button and comment down below. It helps out the channel a ton. And if you're new, turn on notifications. If you turn on those notifications and send a screenshot to my Instagram @Scrubby, I give somebody a shout out every day. Today's notification shout out goes to LEXPLR. Big thank you for having on notifications. As I said, if you want to shout out, take a screenshot of the notification bell being on, send it to my Instagram @Scrubby. Follow me over there. Follow me on Twitter @Scrubby_69. And on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I got a pretty nice double kill coming up here, so I don't want to end the video yet. But yeah, I'm actually going to be making gaming videos on Scrubby, and some face cam stuff is going to be coming back too, I promise. I've actually cleared the time in my schedule to get it done, so I can guarantee you that's going to be there. So I know I've already shouted it out. More conspiracy stuff on the way as well. I'm going to be making more content. It's actually time to grind. All right, now that January's over, I've realized that if I keep going like this, you know, my year might not be the swaggiest. So I'm gonna be doing my best to have the swaggiest year ever. Watch me absolutely just delete this kid. Oh no, you're bad. All right, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time with another video. Yeah. I definitely like Krabby Patty, SpongeBob. Spank my butt. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And if you are having a great day, then be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Every time you walk into your living room, you're gonna stub your toe. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't seem like it'd be a ton of fun to stub your toe every time you walk inside, so press the like button. Real talk though, guys, I think it's safe to say the world has definitely changed a lot in the last month. Like, a month ago, you could go to the store no problem and get toilet paper, and now you have to wipe with washcloths. A lot of things have just changed, and something that has changed for me is the amount of boredom that I have. I wouldn't say that I'm like a super active person, but quarantine has got me to my limits when it comes to entertainment, so much so that I was checking my Facebook the other day. And I haven't checked Facebook since like 7th grade, mainly because that social media died harder than, I don't know, a game that died really hard. But regardless, while on Facebook, I found a post that I just really needed to make a video about. A post so bizarre and just like so out there that you guys needed to see it too. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about today, and without further ado, let's get into it. Fellow parents, I need some advice on how to punish my child for what they did today, because I find myself at a lack of words. I figured I would turn to Facebook. My son Michael is home with his grandpa during this outbreak since I am a nurse and need to work. My dad is a great role model and has done a lot to help raise Michael. Regardless, today while home from school, Michael was playing the game Fortnite while his grandpa watched on the couch. You know, so far so good. Little Timmy Two Toes really on his Fortnite grind making grandpa watch. I'm not really sure if Gramps understands the importance of needing to get a victory royale, but regardless, I guess if you're gonna be locked down with anything, your grandpa and an Xbox is a pretty solid thing to be locked up with. But I'm just trying to figure out where this is gonna go, because if she is turning to Facebook for parenting advice, you know it has to be pretty bad. Like, turning to Facebook for parenting advice is basically the equivalent of leaving your kid with a pack of wolves and letting him be raised by them. Facebook parenting is definitely a 0 out of 10. Nobody whose mom gets parenting advice on Facebook has ever done great things later. After a few hours of playing, Grandpa told my son it was time to take a break and go do something else. This is perfectly okay because he's only supposed to play for a few hours anyways. My son, instead of being a good boy, decided to wait until his grandpa fell asleep and then pounce on him and strap my dad to the chair he was in with a roll of duct tape. And this is when it starts to take a turn for the worse. So little Timmy Two Toes, I guess, is addicted to Fortnite like some people are really out there craving crack or heroin. If my grandpa told me to get off the Xbox, my first thought as a child would never be, well, Grandpa, you may have gotten the upper hand this time. I can't get the Vic Roys with my friends, but trust me, the second you fall asleep, I'm gonna pounce on you like a leopard in a nature documentary and duct tape you to the chair where you can't do anything about it. Your kid is just low-key a psychopath if he's taking his grandpa and duct taping him to lazy boy recliners so that way he can play video games. Like, how deprived is this kid? Yeah, you know me, whenever my parents tell me no, I just look at him and say, don't make me do you like I did Grandpa. My mom found me waterboarding him in the garage one day after he told me no, that I couldn't have any more Lucky Charms. I told him, it doesn't matter if I have diabetes, old man, I'm still gonna live longer than you. I'm also saying, your parenting's gotta be pretty messed up if your kid ever does this. Like, I get sometimes kids just go crazy, you know, they do bad things, but why is your kid low-key even thinking about this? What have you taught your son to the point where whenever somebody tells him no, he instantly starts talking about and thinking about how to incapacitate them so he can do what he wants? My stupid teacher said no. I bet you she wouldn't say no if I had a roll of rope and I could tie her to her chair and then make her watch me pee on her desk. That was a sentence and a half that had to get out. Those combinations of words have never come out of my mouth before, so I just think I got a little confused. Regardless, you guys won't believe me. The post somehow gets worse. After strapping down his grandpa, he proceeded to game in front of him, and when Grandpa was talking, he decided to put his socks in his mouth to keep him quiet. My dad is 82 and doesn't have the strength to fight back. So not only is Grandpa not just a grandpa, he's a Great Depression survivor, but on top of that, this kid has the savagery to duct tape Grandpa to a chair and then just keep gaming with him. Like, yeah, Gramps, I know you told me to get off, but now that you're stuck on the chair, let me force you to watch me do what you just told me not to. This kid is a psychopath. Like, this kid is definitely going to end up in prison one day. Yo, man, when was the first time you committed a crime? Well, technically, I kidnapped my grandpa in a weird way. I did duct tape him to a chair in the basement. Fortunately, my grandpa believed in me and didn't want to press charges. People who are willing to attack their 82-year-old grandpa over a game of Fortnite definitely are not the type of people you want to end up with in life. Any girls watching this video, stay away from dating men who are willing to commit crimes for games. It's just not worth it. I don't care how addicted you are to League of Legends. It doesn't give you an excuse to run an online crime ring to pay for skins. Regardless, Lil Timmy Two Toes here literally attacks his grandpa and keeps him taped to a chair. But the most disrespectful part, beyond just kidnapping Grandpa and strapping him to a chair, is the way he kept Grandpa quiet. I guess when he was gaming with the boys, Grandpa was getting a little bit too loud in the headset, complaining about the restraints he had on his wrist, taping him to the chair. So he decided to take off his disgusting sweaty socks and put them in Grandpa's mouth. It's degrading enough to be duct taped to a chair by your grandson, but imagine your grandson shoving some sweaty, nasty, stanky, gross, disgusting socks in your mouth. This kid, I'm pretty sure, just broke like 18 human rights codes with the amount of gross things he did to his grandpa with just those socks. My son kept him in that chair strapped down with duct tape until I returned home and had to free my father. Anger doesn't begin to describe my emotions right now. What punishment do you think is fair? I love how she's putting this to a poll on Facebook, like an Instagram influencer with a poll on their story. Like, do you guys like my hair better blonde or brunette? Like, what should I do to my son that tortured my 82-year-old dad all day? Do you guys think I should punish him, or should I high-five him and reward him for work well done? I also love the fact that 14 people liked the post and like nobody reacted with a sad face. 14 people just liked it. Who cares that Grandpa was tied down? Not my problem. As for what punishment I think is appropriate, I'm really not sure. I'm not an expert, but this sounds like a case for Dr. Phil. This really sounds like something you would see on a TV show. My son, while being disrespectful, ended up duct taping Grandpa to a chair and not feeding him for 3 days as he went on a binge gaming session of Fortnite. This does not even sound real. I feel like the appropriate punishment is like sending him to the ranch, but sadly those are all shut down. So I guess, I don't know, maybe send him to a coal mine in the middle of Liberia. I feel like there's not much redeeming a kid willing to kidnap Grandpa to play more Fortnite. It's not even like it was a good game. Maybe it would be understandable if it was the new Animal Crossing or something. Now that is worth tying up Grandpa. But if you're still tying up Grandpa over Fortnite in 2020, it's just a matter of time so you start tying people up in your trunk. That's just my opinion. But the best part is these comments that are on it. There's only 3, but every single one of them is absolutely golden. Honestly, I think he is just bored during quarantine. That and liberal information they teach in schools are probably rotting his mind. I pray for him. I'm not gonna make a comment on anything involving like liberal education or whatever, but I'm just saying I don't think any type of education tells kids to tie up their grandparents. Conservative, liberal, it really doesn't matter what side of politics your teachers are on. They shouldn't be teaching you that it's perfectly okay to tie up the elderly. Like, I don't think his education has anything to do with this. I also love how this person says that he was just bored. Like, oh yeah, you know how boys will be when they get bored, they tie up Grandpa because Grandpa deserves it. It's the natural right of man. You beat up your grandpa, tie him up in the basement, don't feed him for a month, and then use his corpse to feed the cows. Wait, what are you making excuses for this kid for? This isn't even a suggestion. This is just like trying to be a lawyer for this kid to get out of his court case. Thank you for sharing, smiley face sick emoji. And the best part is the mom who posted this liked this, which apparently means it was her favorite comment. I don't know what this dude's deal is. He's looking a little bit creepy in his profile picture. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna show it because I don't want anyone going and like finding him, but he's looking kind of creepy, and I'm just saying it's weird to say thanks for sharing on a story of a child committing elder abuse. Wow, sure am glad to hear the story of kids finally standing up to the boomers. They're ruining the planet, and tying them up is the only way that they're going to learn their lesson and stop listening to that libtard education. The Facebook comment section is just a place where like brain cells go to die. But the best best comment of them all, ladies and gentlemen, comes from a Facebook account that appears to be owned by the grandma of the kid who apparently tied up her husband, the 82-year-old grandpa. I don't know where the wife was when this was going on, but this comment really just brought joy to my heart, and it was, he probably deserved to be tied up. This grandma is pulling no punches. She wants her husband quarantined permanently. I just love how, like, casually this family's taking it, dude. Their kid is really low-key a psychopath, and grandma's out here trying to blame her husband. That is what we call a family lifestyle. The like on the comment makes it even better, too. I'm really not sure what family dynamics are going on here, but I really do hope that my grandkids never decide to duct tape me to a chair to play Fortnite. I'd rather just play with them because there's no way they can crank 90s like their old man. Regardless, though, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to comment down below what you think this kid's punishment should be, because apparently the Facebook mom wants to know. Subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications. If you turn on notifications, I send a screenshot to my Instagram at Scrubby. I shout somebody out every single day, and today's notification shout out goes to Flamatty. Big thank you for having on those notifications, and yeah, enjoy your quarantine. I'm gonna go look at more Facebook posts because this was great. Hopefully you guys have a great time. I'm gonna go also tape myself to a chair to look for Facebook posts. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.